Good to see you all. It's about time to start. I'll call this meeting to order. We have a regular meeting today, Tuesday, October 21st. It's 10 a.m. And I have asked our county assessor, Sherrick B., to lead us in the pledge. And after that, our invocation will be by Pastor Joe Tusi in our Payson location. Good morning, Joe. You'll be right after the pledge. Joe's from the U-turn there. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go ahead, Pastor.
I'll start over, I apologize.
Okay.
Papa, we come before you and thank you for this day. We thank you for the country and the state and the county we live in. We pray, Lord God, to continue to guide and lead us as a county, Lord. Give the men that are in charge, our supervisors, just guidance, wisdom, and discernment. We pray for those that are affected by the floods, Lord, that you provide them, that they be able to have relief and be able to rebuild, and that they would, the people of this county would come together, Lord God, to help one another. Lord, we ask you to do all things in order at this meeting, as many things are on the agenda, and pray that you would be here in the midst of us. We love you and trust in you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay. So we do have quite a bit today, so let's get started. Our first item is a presentation, item 2A. And I'd like to get a photograph after this presentation is done with everybody. But it's a public recognition of 15 Public Works Department employees through the County Spotlight on Employees Program for exceptional work. And Supervisor Humphrey.
Okay, yeah, there's been a couple things that has gone on at the Russell Gulch landfill, and this may be a little unusual, but the reason that I'm doing it is, had these people not come together and got things done, it was very possible, because the expansion of our landfill of 3A did not get expanded to the footprint that it was supposed to have, which created a lot of problems at our landfill, to the point that it was just kind of a two-lane road, and you had to turn around down below, back a trailer up. It was in pretty rough shape. And these gentlemen all pulled together out of Payson and Globe to get our landfill to where it could be used properly, and we could get the best benefit out of what we have until we're able to go on to the 3B expansion. Anyway, on Labor Day weekend, the Public Works Department, I'm getting an echo. The Public Works Department was short-staffed at the Russell Gulch landfill, which threatened the ability of the department to keep the landfill open. Two general service employees, James Green and Preston James, heard about the staff struggles and showed up to assist in running equipment. Joe Kellis operated the scale to ensure the landfill was able to remain open for the weekend. Mike Wicks assisted in moving trash to ensure a smooth transition into the following week, while also overseeing a critical repair project at the Bulkhead Mesa landfill. The work performed was greatly appreciated and crucial to keep services available to the county residents and commercial haulers. These four employees were of valuable service and upheld the Public Works Department mission with their willingness to go above and beyond their regular duties. The stabilization of the landfill. Stabilization efforts of Russell Gulch landfill had truly been a team effort. The group had logged extra time and put forth extra effort to ensure this project was a success. At the organizational level, Aaron Cottage, Kodika, Terry White, interim director, and Aaron is our landfill manager for both landfills. Mike Wicks, you know, he was kind of playing engineer on that, helped design the platform that we're now dumping on. General Services Superintendent at Star Valley, Joe Tarango, Russell Gulch Landfill's supervisor, and Joel McDaniels, road manager at Globe. Mr. White facilitated the operational needs in order to make the necessary changes. Mr. Wick designed the new tipping floor layout and waste hauling process to increase volume. Mr. Tarango facilitated on-site operations with staff to implement a new configuration and built the new haulage road himself. And Mr. McDaniel worked with the landfill team to facilitate all necessary equipment and personnel. On the operator side, those involved included Jeff Taylor. Are you here? Nope. There. Landfill operator, Luke Delahaye, fleet mechanic at Star Valley, Keith Satterthwaite, road operator, Star Valley Michael Lavery, roads operator at Globe, Robert Ladouce, road operator at Star Valley, Preston James, fleet mechanic at Globe, Joshua Solinsky, road operator at Globe, Michael McLean, road operator at Globe, Joe Kellis, landfill operator, and Erica DeZera, landfill scale operator. Okay. Mr. Taylor assisted in supervising plan implementation and assisted staff in understanding the new plan. Mr. Delahaye came to Globe and personally assisted staff in understanding the new plan. Mr. Delahaye came to Globe and personally assembled a D8 dozer by himself in one day to have it available to move material. Mr. Satterthwaite transported heavy equipment to Globe for operations. Mr. Lavier transported heavy equipment from Payson for operations. Mr. De La Deuce came on Sunday to move material and ensure enough space for road construction during the week. Mr. James performed equipment repairs on site and helped move dirt for operations. Mr. Solinsky came in to drive dump truck moving dirt from road construction. Mr. McLean came in to drive dump truck moving dirt from road construction. Mr. McLean came in to drive dump truck moving dirt for road construction. Ms. Kellis worked many extra hours to run the dump trucks and assist in road construction. Ms. DeZera worked many extra hours to manage traffic during construction. We've got gift certificates for those. And you know, I appreciate it very much because like I say, it didn't get built as it was engineered, and these people got together and kind of self-engineered to get our landfill to where it's open today. And if it was not done prior to the emergencies that we have been through recently, that dump would have been closed, and there would have been nowhere for a lot of this to go. So my hat's off to you people for throwing together, not being engineers, not being anything but willing to help to get our landfill in the shape that it's in. So thank you very much. We have gift cards for you, and if you wanted a picture, we could sure do that.
I would like to have everyone come forward and let's take a picture, please. Thank you.
Scooch in. Scooch in. All right. Yeah, gotta be friendly. Okay, everyone look here on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Supervisor Klein, you have any comments you'd like to offer?
Oh, sure, I do. So you know, every day in Gila County, there's something that challenges us in one way or another. But when it comes to landfills and things go south with one of our landfills, it's a bad day, and probably longer than a day. And so when I see these guys and gals and everybody chipping in there from the road department, whether it's on roads or landfill or whatever, mechanic shops, and they all pull together to fix something and keep it operational, that's awesome. That's really, really good. And that's, from my standpoint, that's what I want to see. I want to see us working all together when we need to and getting a lot of this stuff done, because without that, Tim's right, we'd have been in a world of hurt with those floods right after that and everything else. So thank you all for doing that, and thank you guys in Payson as well, and we'll just keep it going with that. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Supervisor Humphrey, for presenting that and doing that. It's not surprising that we have such quality people, but it's always such a pleasant thing to hear how you pull together when there's a need, when there's an emergency, when there's something that just needs to be done. And it makes our job easier by far when we can brag on you guys and gals that all work together to make our public works department and our other departments too go so well. It's I'm very proud to represent Gila County. We have an excellent staff, and you guys are short-staffed, and you're still getting all this done. Yes, sir.
So another thing I'd like to say, and I want to thank you too as well, is that, you know, when we have our folks doing that, whether it's fixing our landfills or working in the emergency operations center, and everybody's coming together, that as a board that I see, we stay out of your way and give you the latitude you need to do your job and work, and we support you on that. And I hope for now on, basically, that'll always be the case. And when we do that, we see what good things happen out of everything. You know, it gets fixed. We have all the trust in the world in you guys and gals, and it all comes together. And Supervisor Christensen's right. It's not us that makes this county. It's you guys working for us and gals. That's what it is. And without you, it would not be in that good a shape at all. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Good comments. So if there's nothing else, we'll move on to our next item. We have item 3A. It's a public hearing. It's information, discussion, and action to adopt ordinance number 2025-05, which authorizes an amendment to the Gila County zoning map for unincorporated areas of Gila County, Arizona, by changing and zoning the assessor's parcel number 301-12003P located at 4176 North Highway 87, which is in Pine, Arizona, currently tri-zoned. And those are the transitional residential district, residential 1 district, density 12, and commercial 2 district, C2, to designate the entire parcel transitional residential district TR and add a trailer district T overlay. Randy, tell us about that.
Kurt, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So the subject property, now identified as assessor parcel number 301-12003P, was currently created through the combination of 2 separate parcels, APN 301-12003M and APN 301-12003N. APN 301-12003M was previously dual zoned as TR and R1D12. APN 301-12003 was previously dual zoned as TR and C2. The applicant is requesting to rezone the portion of the property currently designated as R1 and C2 to TR. This action would establish a consistent zoning across the newly created parcel of A301-12003P by applying a single zoning district of TR. Additionally, a T district overlay is proposed to allow the new development consistent with the intended use of the property. According to the applicant, the intent of the rezone is to facilitate construction of a new manufactured housing community on the approximately 1.9 acres. The development is planned to feature Arizona manufactured 2 and 3 bedroom homes. ARS Statute 11-251.05 ordinance states that prior to adoption, amendment, or repeal of any ordinance under the section, the Board of Supervisors shall hold a public hearing thereon at least 15 days, which we are doing today. Legal ads were published on 9/30 of 2025 and 10/1 of 2025 in the Payson Roundup and Silver Belt newspaper, respectively. The posting was completed on 9/29 of 25. Staff sent property owners within the 300-foot radius of the subject property notifications of the applicant's request on 7/30 of 2025. The applicant held a neighborhood meeting on February 15th of 2025 to discuss the proposed rezoning. Mr. Crawley stated that there was no attendees present and he received no written and verbal comments from the owners. 28 properties are within the 300-foot range of the subject property. During the Planning Zoning Commission meeting held on August 21st, 2025, Gila County Community Developments and Department staff received concerns about safety of pulling onto 87, water, and flooding issues caused by the excavation. All comments received were from properties within the 300 feet. The intent and purpose of the trailer district is to be combined with certain other use and density districts for the purpose of permitting mobile manufactured home developments. When the combined with the other transitional residential district, the T overlay permits manufactured home developments as a permitted use. In reviewing the rezoning application for the recommendation, staff considers the ARSS statutes, Gila County's ordinances, and comprehensive master plan. The current and proposed land use of the property adjacent zoning district comments and other Gila County department requirements when the land use will be compatible and harmonious with the neighboring uses and any recorded restrictions. There are no deed restrictions on this property. Per ARS 11-814, all rezoning adopted under the article shall be consistent and conform with the adopted comprehensive plan in the case of uncertainty in construction or in applying the conformity of any part of the proposed rezoning to the adopted comprehensive master plan. We're supposed to give leeway. APN 301-12003 falls within the multifunctional corridor of Gila County's comprehensive master plan. The multifunctional corridor categories denotes areas of the county that are located adjacent to the primary transition route and where a mix of land uses are desirable. Based on the applicant's review, the land and use appears to be compatible and harmonious with the neighboring uses. and the proposed rezoning conforms within the comprehensive master plan. Staff recommends approval to the Board of Supervisors for the rezoning request, subject to adherence of the conditions. The Gila County Planning and Zoning Commission, at a duly noticed public hearing held on August 24, 25, voted 7-1. Recommended approval of the subject to adhere to the conditions. The owner of subject 301-12-003P must comply with all requirements of the TR and the T overlay. Per ARS Statute 1114, the board may approve a rezoning of zone and condition as scheduled for development of the specified uses rezoning to 24 months. So basically what we're saying is this would revert back, or we would bring it back to you within 24 months if work was not done on this project. It is the responsibility of the owner of the subject property, APN 301-12-003P, to obtain all necessary federal, state, county, and local permits that may be required. The issuance of the rezoning does not relieve the owner of the liability of failing to obtain the required permits. And we've given you options for you to move forward. So with that, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Randy. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions, because we know why we're doing it, for development, and so they'll have to stay with all the rules, planning and zoning, grading and drainage, and so, yeah, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
Randy, how many acres was that?
1.9 is what he's adding on or rezoning. There is currently another portion of another parcel next to it that currently has RVs on it.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So he's kind of expanding. He's bought the property to expand and put in manufactured homes.
So for my curiosity, was there any kickback on this project from the public around him or anything?
Well, so during the meeting, a couple of the lower, they're up on the highway side. On the lower portion, there was concerns about crossing across their property, drainage, and water use for everyone in Pine is a big deal. So that was the comments, but it did not raise to the level that would require a unanimous vote.
Right. Thank you, Randy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Randy, thank you. And is Mr. Crawley here today?
I do not see him here. He may be.
That's okay.
No, he is not.
I don't really have a question for him. So when it comes to the water, that is the concern. So people are going to say, well, they're going to use more water because we're adding homes. And so have they secured a water supply?
That will be part of the development plan.
Part of the development. Okay.
Under rezoning, we're not allowed to require those kind of things and comments. But before a permit is issued, we have to have water assurance.
Okay. Right. I understand that now. So, okay, I don't have any other questions. So let's close the discussion and open it up to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone here in Globe, this room right now, that wishes to speak on this item? Cassandra, do we have anyone there? And Lisa, do we have anyone there that wishes to speak?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Then I will close the public hearing and call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt ordinance number 2025-05 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Vote is unanimous. Right, item 3B, information, discussion, action to adopt ordinance number 2025-06, which authorizes an amendment to the Gila County zoning map for unincorporated areas of Gila County, Arizona by changing the zoning of assessor's parcel number 301-66116U, located in Pine, Arizona, identified as parcel 2, excuse me, of Record of Survey 2914, currently zoned Commercial 2 District, C2, to Residential 1 District, Limited Density 40, which is R1L-D40. Randy.
Thank you again. The applicant is seeking to rezone a vacant of 20.38 acres wooded parcel in Pine, Arizona to allow a minor land division into 5 4-acre custom home sites. The property is located north of Pine Trailhead, surrounded primarily by rural residential development with limited commercial uses across the street. This is basically across the street from that brewery, is where this is. Commercial development would be incompatible with the area rural character, while low-density residential uses would preserve the setting and align with surrounding land uses. At a neighborhood meeting, attendants expressed unanimous support for the rezoning, noting concerns about potential impacts from commercial development. Again, ARS Statute 11251 ordinance states that prior to the adoption or repeal of an ordinance, again, this is the 24 months that if they desire not to move forward with it, we could come back to you and ask that it reverts back to what it was. Legal ads were published on 9/30 and 10/1 in the Payson Roundup and Silver Belt newspaper, respectively. The postings was completed on 9/29. Staff sent property owners within the 300-foot radius of the subject property notifications of the applicant's request on 8/29/2025. To be in compliance with Section 101.3.a, property owners within 300 feet were notified. A neighborhood meeting was held by the applicant on July 23rd of 2025 with 4 attendees present. Per the applicant, concerns raised include the need for a fire hydrant at 87 and Pine Haven Road and extending a new water supply line for the new addition of the 5 homes. The applicant stated they are committed to installing at least 1 hydrant, possibly a second, and a new 4-inch water line separate from the Pine Haven community. 1 written comment was received in full support of the rezoning. 17 properties are within 300 feet as of this report. No formal comments and subject or opposed have been received. The intent of the purpose current zoning commercial 2 district is to prevent most types of commercial activities orientated to a large segment of population than the average neighborhood. The district is designed for cluster application along with major streets and highways, although the uses within the district should be operated in such a manner as to are compatible with the surrounding residential uses. District is not intended for mixed use. The intent and purpose of the residential 1 district limited is to promote and development areas primarily of the site built single family attached dwellings intended that all other uses be installed, operated, and maintained in a manner so as to complement the case of minimum disruption to the single family. Again, this is our most regulated zoning. R1L doesn't allow manufactured home, doesn't allow RVs on the site, doesn't allow any of that stuff. It will be a site-built property. In reviewing the rezoning applicant for a recommendation, staff considers ARS statute, Gila County ordinances, master plan. The property is adjacent zoning applicants from other Gila County departments, whether the land use be compatible and harmonious with the neighboring uses, and any recorded restrictions on the property. No deed restrictions were found on this property. Per ARS Statute 1114, all rezonings adopted under this article shall be consented and conform to the adopted comprehensive plans. In the case of uncertainty, again, we're supposed to give as much leeway as possible. APN 301-66-116U falls within the residential 1 and 2 dwelling units per acre category of the Gila County Comprehensive Master Plan. The requested R1LD40 zoning is consistent with this design, which supports the low density detached residential development in the rural areas while preserving character. The applicant actually wanted to go bigger, but there is nothing around this area that would allow us to go bigger, so it would have been considered spot zoning. So that's why we're at the D40, which is attached to the land. Based on the applicant reviewing, the land uses appears to be compatible and harmonious with the neighboring uses, and the proposed rezoning conforms with the comprehensive master plan. Staff recommends approval to the Board of Supervisors for the zoning request, and We have basically the same restriction. The owner is subject to 301-66-116U must comply with all the requirements of R1LD40 requirements. Per AS statute, the board may approve or change the condition of a schedule for development. Again, that's the 24 months. And it is the responsibility of the owner to abide by all state, federal, and local permits and requirements. And with that, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Randy. Supervisor Humphrey?
Yeah, on that land split, it can be split 5 times, so 20 into 4.
Correct.
So what's to keep them from going 4 into 20? In other words, splitting those 4-acre parcels again.
So under the rezoning, we're not allowed to come up with any of the requirements that says they can't do this, but under the development plan, sorry, blank
It's okay.
break here. Under the development plan, that's where we would go into that, and that would be considered a subdivision, and then they would have to meet all the requirements and plat as a subdivision if they were to split the lots more than 5 times at all. So they have committed that they plan on this, but at this point, and I will say that was one of the concerns, was that they're not going to do the 5 houses, they're gonna do 20. But under the rezoning, we're only allowed to address the rezoning of the land and not what the future may or may not hold.
But
we
it
can't
would
do
come
that.
before the board?
Say again,
It
sir?
would come before the board?
It would not necessarily come before the board. So in other words, let's say they split it into 5 lots and then they sold the 5 lots and people try to divide that and then come back and come back. They would always have to be the R1LD40 requirements. But if they tried to do anything different than that, then yes, we would be coming back to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Supervisor Klein?
I'm good, Randy, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so my district, and I do know the residents of Pine do not want more commercial development. So this is a trend toward the community's thought process of just having more housing. And so I don't really have any questions. I'll close our discussion and open it up to the public. Anyone here in
And I do believe in Pine, or
in Payson,
Jason?
that Terry's there,
the applicant?
the applicant.
All right, if she wishes to speak, I'll call on her. Anyone here in Globe? No, we okay on the internet? Cassandra, and then, is there anyone besides Terry in Payson that wishes to speak on this? No? And Terry may not want to speak on it, but I will give you the opportunity if you'd like to make a few comments.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Supervisors, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. Thank you, Mr. Plummer, for your presentation and the rest of the staff. So a couple of things that I'd like to say just sort of as a preamble is we acquired this property, or an escrow with this property, pending today's outcome, to make sure that in fact this property, 20 acres, zone C2, did not fall into the hands of a development plan that, under the C2 zoning rules and regulations in Gila County, could create quite a broad and dense development right here on the highway, on the entrance gateway into Pine. And we just feel like, in keeping with the Pine planning effort that was done, I think, 7 years ago, Supervisor Christensen, that we in Pine really want to make sure that we don't see these kind of intense, heavy commercial developments that this current zoning and this large of a parcel would allow. So our idea really was to purchase this property and create as low of a possible density, just some 5 custom homes that would be very much in keeping with the current residence that's there. The Pine Haven community, which I think there's 6 residents that are there. That's all very rural, very spread out. Everybody has big parcels. as you know, as Mr. Plummer said, that we had 100% support from our community meetings from the local surrounding community, because they were terrified of what might happen to the gateway. They would have literally had to drive through this heavy potential commercial development to get to their peaceful rural homes. So this would maintain that community of interest and community of place by this down zone. So I'd like to speak to one specific question that was asked, and that was, what would prevent further compartmentalization or separation and splitting of the lots that we're planning under the existing zoning? So, and I'd be happy to provide a follow-up copy of this to the Board of Supervisors. And that is, we are deed restricting. Again, you have to know that we're not developers in this big money. We're people in the Pine community, aside from ourselves, a community of people who have put their money up to make sure that this property stays as rural as possible. And as part of the condition, we also told the planning and zoning that we are going to make sure that these parcels are deed restricted. So it will be a splitting of this property into no more than 5 4-acre parcels, and that each of those 4-acre parcels cannot ever be further subdivided. And I hope that answers your question. Obviously, we can't do that until we own the property, and we're not going to own the property until the result of this meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Any other questions before I close the public comment? All right, we're going to close the public comment, and I will then call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to adopt ordinance number 2025-06 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, and we don't have to be unanimous today, Randy. We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to item 4 now, regular agenda items. 4A, information, discussion, action to approve contract number 25333, the 0 RFP GC1, which is the assessment mailings with the Master Touch LLC for the term of July 1, 2025 through April 29th, 2026, for a maximum not to exceed compensation amount of $65,000. And we have our assessor, Shara Cassie, with us.
Good morning, Mr.
Good
Chair,
morning.
members of the board. The Gila County Assessor's Office is statutorily required to annually send out mass mailings to all taxable property owners. This includes our notices of value, notices of change to notify them of their property valuation for tax purposes, and business personal property renditions, which taxpayers utilize to inform the assessor's office of changes in their taxable assets. With approximately 40,000 accounts, we cannot accomplish this without the help of a third party. This contract allows us to meet our statutory requirement in an economically feasible way by utilizing the Master's Touch, who has demonstrated they have the capacity, appropriate means, and equipment for printing and mailing all our notices on a mass scale. Most all of the county assessors in Arizona use the Master's Touch for their mass mailings as well. We have used the services of the Master's Touch since July 2018 and have been very pleased with their services. There was a 7% increase on the cost of goods from last year's contract, with the labor costs remaining the same. But the overall budget of $65,000 for these mailings is likely much greater than what we will need, but that's our budget for the year. I, the assessor, recommend that the board approve contract number 253330 RFP-GC1 with the Master's Touch LLC for our assessment mailings, and I can answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I guess the only question I would have is, was this out for bid, or are you just using them because everybody else does?
To my understanding, Supervisor Humphrey, there's really only one other place that has the capability that the Master's Touch does, and they have already proven themselves not to be very, very good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Klein.
Thanks, Sheriff. I'm good.
Yeah, thank you, Shara. So with that, I will call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve contract number 253330RFP-GC1 with the Masters Touch LLC as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Shara.
Thank you.
All right, item 4B is an information discussion action to approve an economic development agreement, number 2026-0000099, between, I think we're going to eliminate one of the zeros on the next one. Right? We're at 99. Okay, good. Between Gila County and the Community Education, Recreation, and Civic Association in the amount of $15,000, which the board is determined to be for the benefit of the public. This was a request that came to me, and I asked whether the other supervisors would like to participate in this $15,000. It is discretionary funds that we each have available at our discretion, and this is, and so the other supervisors all agreed that they would chip in $5,000 each. We're doing that, and this is for a group of buildings that exist in Pine, part of the old school, and involves a museum, a community center, and other things that are in constant need of attention and upgrades, and they never seem to ever have enough money. Roofing, all of the other things, so it's sort of vital. I really appreciate the other supervisors participating in this, and so I'll ask if there's any questions. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have no question.
Supervisor Klein?
I'm good.
And thank you. And with us today, I think in Payson, do we have Dean Pedersen and Katie Asp and Keith Howell? Yes. It's not necessary that you say something, but if you'd like to say something.
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you to the board.
Okay.
For recognizing that we have an issue in our Pine community, because we're also the designated emergency center, and so the generators will help us provide the services that we need in a crisis. So we really appreciate the donation, and we're constantly trying to keep our community small and bring it back so we have a community center, and that's our goal. And it's a lot of upkeep because the buildings are old. It's the old school, and it's right dead center in the middle of town. We have all kinds of things going on there every day, and we just appreciate the support from the county supervisors. And the school district owns the property, and we manage the property, so I appreciate Keith and Katie being here too as well to show our support. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dean. This is literally the center of commerce in Pine. It's where all of the festivals and all of the quilting shows and all of the gatherings occur. It's really great that we have people that are willing to volunteer to take care of that, and we're just helping financially. And so I don't have anything else to present, so I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve Economic Development Agreement Number 2026-0099 between Gila County and the Community Education, Recreational, and Civic Association as presented, and which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Item 4C is information discussion action to approve an economic development agreement. It's number 2026-0000117 between Gila County and Globe Downtown Association in the amount of $15,000 to assist with cleanup, restoration activities in the downtown area, which the board is determined to be for the benefit of the public. Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a way we can help folks here in Globe kind of recoup from the flooding that has occurred here more recently. And this too is a shared amount between all three of us supervisors. It's part of our constituent funds, and I can't think of a better cause than this to put money towards too. So we have Molly and Tom here today, and would you guys like to say anything about this? Are you good? Oh,
I could say something.
come on
Come
up,
up.
Molly.
Yeah, and please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Molly Cornwell. I'm a resident of Globe, Arizona, and I manage the Globe Downtown Association. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. Our goal is for historic preservation and the preservation of downtown, whether it be physical properties, whether it be history, and economic development and all of the rest that go with that. We do manage to properties that are near and dear to us, the Gila County Jail, which is your former jail, so we are the 1910 jail. And then we also manage the 1916 train depot complex, which we use for everything from baby showers and meetings and parties and for community events in the parking lot. And we also have filming projects in there as well that are seen internationally. So when the flood hit, it didn't just hit our train depot, which it did, and we received some major damage there to the museum, but it did hit our downtown and our residents, and many of our buildings are still in red tag, yellow tag status, and we're trying to help those building owners, but we're also trying to help the businesses and the ones that have been operating, and then of course, you know, everything that's needed on North Broad and South Broad to be distributed. So we so appreciate this. We have several of our board members with us here today that represent our business community and municipality and the like, and I can introduce them if they want, but I just want to say that this will be distributed and we will cherish it because the fees and the damage is insurmountable, and every little bit helps. So we appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. So
Thank you, Molly, and thank you for all you guys do.
Thank you.
Hey, Molly, could you just wait a second? Thank you.
Yeah,
You- go ahead.
Supervisor Humphrey, do you have anything?
No, other than thank you for all you do for the community and the county. Since this started, we're taking care of the dump fees from
Thank you.
flooded areas. That's something we're still continuing to do. I talked to Aaron, and so, yeah, so that just helps in,
Oh, and your public works
in the
has been
downtown and things
amazing,
to
and-
be able
yeah.
to help, so, yeah,
Thank
thank you for all you do. Money's easy, rebuilding isn't, so,
No, it's
you
not.
know, so you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. The flooding and all this, I look at there's short-term needs and then there's gonna be long-term needs.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
so how best do you think this 15,000 will help you? What is your plan to use it for?
Yes, absolutely. So when we were in the middle of mud mucking, right in the beginning days, and of course it didn't just hit us; it hit Miami as well. You follow the creek and it's gone,
Yeah.
county property and the rest as well. But in historic downtown, you know, people were just trying to hand us money. How can we help? How can we help? And so just, you know, my fastest thing without taking too much time was to set up a GoFundMe, which I knew was recognizable, but we've been able to raise $20,000 with that, and that was designated for the property owners and the business owners in the historic district to distribute. So we have a planning meeting on Monday with our entire board to go through an application process or how we're going to distribute that and in those places that are most need, but it will be distributed, divided up. And so this will add to that. We plan on, when we were going through it originally, there will be a portion used for the train depot so it can bring back for the public, and then the rest will be going towards the same ideas of that fund to really help our historic district in downtown Globe and get us back up and running. The faster that we can get our economic sass in the addle. I don't know how to say that, get up and running. We're heading into our season that our businesses need to thrive and stay open. And if we're still closed and we're lagging behind, they just won't survive. So it is our intent to help in any way we can and find out what the needs are from talking to the businesses and moving forward that way. Absolutely. And then we'll know future forward what we'll need from there.
Right.
We're going to continue taking donations as well. It has been a beautiful outpouring just from everywhere, every part of the state. People have just showed up and people we don't even know, but now we know. So hundreds, in fact, one day I think there was over 3,000 volunteers that just were on the ground helping everyone. And so, it's that, and it's empathy, and it's just, they've just lost everything, some of them. So it's really just trying to find out what they need to help bring them back, because we don't want to lose building inventory in downtown either. So it is in our interest to, stand the gap and try to help maintain what we know and help bring us all back. So,
Thank you, Molly. So just to let you know, since it is public money,
yes,
then there will be an accounting of where
Absolutely.
it goes. So
yeah,
if you have any questions about how that should be done or can be done, please contact our finance department or
Okay.
our management or anything to help you through that process. So,
Yes, absolutely.
So that at the end of it all, you say, well, we did spend the 15,000. They're going to say, how?
exactly.
And
And
we
we plan
just
to
need
come
to know
back
that.
if that's okay and tell you how we did it too and who
Right.
it benefited as
So-
well. So thank
thank
you.
you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. With that, I will then call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Economic Development Agreement number 20260117 between Gila County and the Globe Downtown Association as presented, and which the board is determined to be for the benefit of the public.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 4D, information discussion action to approve economic development agreement number 2026-00000121 between Gila County and the United Fund of Globe Miami Incorporated in the amount of $50,000 to support the flood relief matching challenge, which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public. And we have Manager Menlove. Tell us what we're doing here.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I need to make a disclosure before I get into this too far that I am a member of the United Fund of Globe Miami, a member of that board. And I'm here to present information. I do not make any decisions, in thinking about this, I do not think I disclosed on my annual conflict of interest statements that I am a member of the United Fund Board, because we never have had a request through the Board of Supervisors for that.
Well, let me clarify then. Are you paid by the United
I am
Fund?
not.
Any money? No. And will any of the request here go to you personally as a benefit in any way?
It does not.
Okay.
That's the one thing, the United Fund of Globe Miami, the difference between, years ago, the community was involved in the United Way. There are quite large administrative fees in the United Way, and so this group broke off and created the United Fund, where the administrative fee, there are some admin fees, but for audits and things like that, but they are less than 10% instead of the typical 30%. So that is a unique thing. United Fund Board has promised that every dollar that is committed to this endeavor go directly to those that request and have demonstrated needs. And so there's not any of this money that's going to even go to that less than 10% admin cost of the United Fund.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Mr. Chairman, this is something that has happened in the past when there was flooding a few years back, that it is through the Red Cross in Marin. Please connect me if I'm wrong or need to be steered in a correct path, that the Red Cross administers this. There are questions to determine eligibility or determine that there are needs. I'm starting down the wrong path real quick here, so. Salvation Army, not the Red Cross, Salvation Army.
Yes.
Okay, that are administering this, and so there has been, I know that the City of Globe has stated or approved by their board $200,000 for this. Resolution Copper, can I
Sure, it's official.
Resolution Copper has committed $1 million to this effort to restore the businesses and homes that have been impacted by this. And then there's also another $500,000 on top, about another $500,000 on top of this, just from smaller donors that have contributed to this. So getting close to, well over $1.5 million, getting close to $2 million of dollars committed to restoration of the Globe Miami area and the flooding of the recent past month or so. It is a request that Gila County contribute $50,000. This can be designated, we didn't, on the agenda item, didn't designate, but it can be designated how much you want to go to housing relief and how much you want to go to business relief. City of Globe, they committed 50%, so 100,000 to housing and 100,000 to businesses. And you may do the same, or if you feel a particular need. There's just a tremendous need all around. Anything else I should add?
No, but you can introduce Susan if you'd like. She's right here.
Susan?
This is Susan Guerrero. She's the United Fund Social Media and Community Outreach Manager, and she has made a huge difference in this fundraising effort. The last time we had a fundraiser of this nature, it took us weeks to raise like $250,000, and this particular fundraiser, we hit 1.7 million in less than 3 weeks. So thank you, Susan, for all you did to make a huge difference. Susan's only been with United Fund since January and already has led this fundraising effort. So she is a great asset for our whole community.
Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I think this is a great thing. This is a conversation that I had with Mr. Minlove here a while back, that it's like, you know, I felt like we needed to do something as a board for the community, and that's the nice thing about United Way, is it's for the town of Miami, for the city of Globe, for the county, even the people out in Wheatfield, they got flooded in things. And so after our conversation, I asked Mr. Minlove if there was funding for this, and so being the manager that he is, he found some funding for us to be able to give to United Way as a board and a county to help with this. And we talked about you know, 25 to the people for the homes, the private, and we talked about 25% for the business areas. But this can be a board decision. It's, you know, not set in stone, but that's kind of when Mr. Minlove and I talked that we felt might be best helpful. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Susan, nice to meet you. Thank you for everything you're doing. As far as the split goes, yeah, 50-50 split's fine. Or, you know, there's a huge need for all the money all across the board. So, I'm glad you did this, James. We needed to do this, and maybe we can look a little further down the road for something else. So, anyway, and help these folks get back on there. Go ahead if you want.
Mr. Chairman, Sergeant Klein, just wanted to point out that on these constituent funds and things, that what we use is lottery dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So those are dollars that we get returned to the county, a small percentage of their revenues returned to the county, not tax dollars, but they are a revenue source that we have a little bit of flexibility that we can use. And Supervisor Humphrey mentioned a good use of an opportunity to put this back into our community.
Oh, absolutely. It is a good use of it. So, anyway, thank you for putting that together. Susan, thank you for everything you're doing. And Marin, of course, thank you. And that's it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Susan. Good to meet you. And so, yes, I think it should be, the decision should be the discretion of those who are closest to the issues and where that money should go. If it's housing, if it's business, there's likely not enough money to do everything that's needed. So, and hopefully some other money will kick in eventually for some of that too. So, And as you mentioned, this is non-tax dollars. This is not part of your property taxes. And so if there's nothing else, then I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve Economic Development Agreement number 2026-0121 between Gila County and the United Fund of Globe Miami Incorporated as presented, which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very
Mr. Chair,
much.
members of the board, appreciate it.
Thank you. And item 4E now. Information, discussion, action to approve amendment number 3 to professional services contract number 081723, election services and maintenance service with Electron Systems and Software, increasing the maximum not to exceed term amount to $56,021.66 to upgrade the election department's election management software. Charlotte's going to present.
Good morning, Chairman, board members. Charlotte Astroy Nizami, Clerk of the Board. I'm going to present for Eric Mariscal, the Elections Director. He was chosen for grand jury, so he couldn't be here, and the rest of the staff are in election recertification. So this is just the third amendment to a contract that is with ES&S for election services and maintenance service to upgrade to the most current version for the election software. So it is going to increase the contract by $3,501 for a total not to exceed of $56,021.66. And I'll do my best to answer any questions.
Okay, Charlotte, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions, Charlotte, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Klein.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good as well. No hard questions today, Charlotte. So with that, I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 3 to professional services contract number 081723 with election systems and software as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Very good. 4F, information, discussion, action to approve contract number CTR 075949-GC1, Managed Network Services with Frontier Technologies, LLC, Micro Age, for an initial term of July 1st, 2025 through April 18th, 2026, for a maximum not to exceed compensation amount of $108,840. Good morning, Mr. Rogers.
Good morning, Chairman, board members. I come before you with a renewal to our managed network services with Frontier Technology LLC, doing business as MicroAge. We've used MicroAge before for our managed network services. They help us keep our network secure, and if we have issues, we can always call on them to assist us with network issues that we may come up across. Whenever we have to replace switches or routers, if we need any assistance, we use them for assistance in that nature. And I'll answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no question.
And Supervisor Klein.
Good, Dave, thank you.
Yeah, me too. I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve contract number CTR 075949-GC1 with Frontier Technology, LLC, MicroAge as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
4G, information, discussion, action to authorize the advertisement for request for proposal number 0706-2025, Gila County zoning ordinance rewrite. Mr. Plummer.
Morning, back again.
Yes.
The current Gila County zoning ordinance was last amended in March 2022. It is outdated and become increasingly difficult to apply to the county ever evolving needs. The existing ordinance contains outdated provisions that do not reflect current state laws, best practices in zoning, or involving the needs of the county. In addition, many aspects of the ordinance are unclear, difficult to interpret, and have led to inconsistencies in the application. The new ordinance hopefully will address all of that. As you know, our ordinance for zoning is lacking, and we copied it probably, I didn't see when it was first done, but we have stuff that deals with county, we have stuff that deals with cities, we have stuff that deals with towns, which we are a county, so we can only deal with stuff that deals with county. And there's a lot of gray area that allows different directors to interpret things differently, and which makes it inconsistent for our customers and constituents to know what may or may not be changed every time a director's been coming in or going. I will not be the last director that this county has, and we're trying to narrow this down so that when we give an answer, it is straight out of the book, and people can know what to expect as we move forward. So with that, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Randy. Supervisor Humphrey?
If this is something we go forward with, would that be a good time for people to change the zoning in areas that they may have thought about or wanted to change in the past?
So, as we did earlier, we can always rezone a parcel. Currently, bigger areas would take a little bit longer and a little bit harder, but yes, you know, if we as we're moving forward and we talk with them and give them ideas and thoughts of what we've got, I will tell you my ordinance on my desk has red marks, pretty much more than black marks on a lot of pages, and changing zoning for different things and allowing different things is always an option.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein?
So this rewrite, Randy, that's gonna be you in your office that can do this?
Well, it's going to be, we're doing for an outside service
Okay.
that would come in and do that. We would meet with them. We were putting, part of that would be public comments and stuff that they would get and control and come to us and say, here's what we're finding. I would see us coming to you guys as we move forward in the rewrite, that we would be giving you guys updates and making sure we're aiming in the right direction that the supervisors would want us to be going. Did I answer the question?
You did, and that's gonna be an interesting topic when it hits the
Yes, sir.
meeting room here, so. Okay.
I my best guess is this is not going to be a quick project. This is going to be taking some time. And I really, and I know my staff does, really wants to get this correct.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something that we want to take lightly. And there's a fair amount of money involved with these kind of things. I can tell you a lot of the other counties currently are either have done it and have finished or in the process of it. So we're not the only ones doing this, but that also gives us perspective from other companies of what they've done in other areas, and we can hopefully come up with the best options moving forward.
Okay, so as a board, then we'll be involved with this off and on through the process.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I agree with you. It's probably gonna be a fairly lengthy process
Yes, sir.
to get it all
And
done.
I'm sure it's going to be lots of fun.
Oh, in my opinion, it is. Thank you, Randy.
Yes, sir.
So Randy, this is just a request for a proposal. You're gonna come back to us and say, this is what we got for estimates?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. And then if we choose not to have an outside source, is this something that you can do internally? You just don't feel confident to
So
do
I
that
am-
accurately?
I am confident that I could do it if I had nothing else going on.
I understand.
But even with that, I would still be involved with the board here to get what ideas they would have, and that's what I would plan on doing with someone else. But if you're saying, could I do this today? No.
Right. I understand. So, okay. I thought Kim did everything anyway, but no.
She's told me that before.
Yeah. Okay, very good. So let's, I'll call for a motion on this then.
Mr. Chair, I move to authorize the advertisement of request for proposal number 07062025 as presented.
And I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Randy. 4H, information discussion action to approve contract number CTR 076572-GC1 Design Services, Gila County Courthouse Roof Replacement with GH2 Architect LLC for an initial term of October 1st, 2025 through April 15th, 2026 for a maximum not to exceed compensation amount $53,364. Good morning, Mr. Dickinson.
Morning, Chairman, members of the board. The courthouse roof here in Globe has reached the end of its lifespan. We've been seeing ongoing leaks that threaten the integrity of the building and the preservation of the important records and equipment inside. Today's item is a design contract for GH2 Architects LLC, which is a required step before we can go out for bid for the actual roof replacement project. This also follows feedback from the board asking that we look at a more durable, long-term solution to remediate the existing flat roof, which now is only a membrane system. Under this contract, GH2 Architects will handle the design phase, including assessment, drawings, bid support, and construction oversight. The total not to exceed $53,364, and the term will run from October 21st to April 15th. With that, once we get a full, complete design, we'll be coming back before the Board of Supervisors with the cost estimate from the architects and engineering, and then the potential to go out for bid with the guidance of the Board of Supervisors. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Joseph. Supervisor Humphrey.
So this is a flat roof with parapet wall.
Say again, sir, I'm sorry.
This is a flat roof with parapet walls?
Yes, sir, in a membrane.
Okay, and we put the membrane on not too long ago, is that correct?
From my understanding, it was very tough to find records on it, but from my understanding, it's been replaced quite a few times.
Yeah, okay. And so this design is gonna have some kind of a pitch to it to run water better? Because the only good thing about a flat roof is it's gonna leak, you just don't know when and how much.
Agreed, Supervisor. We are looking at creating some type of design where it's going to more efficiently and effectively shed the water, whether it's an A-pitch or some other design.
Okay, and so is that design gonna come with a cost too, or this is for the design?
It's included in this design.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
No further questions. Thank you, Joseph.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good, thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve contract number CTR 076572-GC1 with GH2 Architects LLC as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
4I, information discussion action to approve contract number CTR 068701 GCI, secondary data analysis, Safe Streets for All with Community Alliance Consulting LLC for an initial term of October 21st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 for a maximum not to exceed compensation amount of $125,000. Good morning, Mr. Beck.
And good morning, Chairman, members of the board. So, as everybody remembers, when this first came out, it was interesting to everyone at the state that public health was the ones that applied for this. So, when I wanted to go out to bid for this, typically we would use, or most of the counties would use, a construction company to do this. Part of the reason why I wanted to apply for public health was because I really want to see that public health return on investment information in this, as you can imagine, as a public health director. So when we wanted to go out to bid to do the advanced secondary data analysis that we would normally do and put out to bid, I also wanted a company that had public health experience, or foremost public health experience, because most of the plans that I've seen that I read have very little public health emphasis, and obviously that's my area that I find most important. So we worked with our CAG in Pinell County and with the state to find a state contractor that had experience in both, that was on state contract, that had qualifications both to do that advanced crash data analysis and had public health return on investment, and put those together, and this was the vendor that we found that was on state contract. And while I'm on that, I just wanted to kind of answer something that Supervisor Klein asked last time when we presented this item. And speaking with Alex in Public Works, part of the reason I want to do this is because obviously I love sneaking public health into it as much as I can. I think all three of you are aware of that. But also because with this money, almost everyone that's finished Safe Streets plan has won some kind of an implementation award afterwards, which is great extra funding for us. Another reason is this is one of those check boxes. So if you remember when I present the emergency management has that multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. And once you have that, every time you apply for a grant, it's one of those check boxes. It gives you more points. So for our Public Works Department, when you have this Safe Streets for All grants or programs in place, then they get that extra check box, which gets them more points. And as we all know, especially after a flood, roads, bridges, and all these kinds of projects are important. Another really good thing about it is when you're doing a lot of these projects, a lot of them, my conversation with Alex and just doing some research so I could present this to you, is that a lot of those projects, the roads and stuff have their funding, but like the sidewalks in those areas, a lot of times those kind of eat into our cost. Well, there are a lot of different grants and programs and things that you can look into with Department of Transportation that give funds, and it's usually funded at 80% them, 20% us, when you have these plans in place for doing those sidewalk projects. So there are a lot of ways we're sneaking this out there, although I get to put my public health spin on it. It's good for Public Works and can save us money in the future. And then back to the original. So, and that's the reason is we wrote this to have a public health impact in it. And so finding a vendor, I wanted to make sure we found a vendor with a public health impact first. But also, obviously, it's a very fine-tuned thing to do advanced level data analysis. So
that's it. Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
Well, first, I like the bolo, but most of all, I very much appreciate your enthusiasm. How can anybody say no after the enthusiasm that you approached this with to help the county get more checkpoints as we put in for more funding? What a great job, and I can't say enough about your enthusiasm, what you do for the county. So thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it.
Do you like his bolo?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice one. Thank you, Josh. I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve contract number CTR 068701-GC1 with Community Alliance Consulting LLC as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Josh. We're going to table the next one, correct?
did you want an update?
You're not, well, it's item 4J. You're not ready to present that yet.
Correct.
Okay, so I will call for a motion to table item 4J. It'll show up later, I'm sure.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to table item 4J at this time. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right. On to item 4K, information discussion action to approve contract number 240161-12-GCI, the Buckhead Mesa Landfill Expansion Environmental Documents Clearances with Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated for an initial term of October 21st, 2025 through January 12, 2026 for a maximum not to exceed compensation amount of $238,000. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. Yes, this is a request for approval of contract number 240161-12-GC1. This is for the Buckhead Mesa landfill expansion. And what we need to do, this is an important and necessary step. We have to prepare environmental documents and clearances. And we have selected Kimley Horn and Associates for an amount not to exceed $238,000, and it's approximately a one-year contract. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Okay, Supervisor Klein.
So Tom, this contract, you're thinking we can get those environmental documents and the clearances within 1 year?
Yes, sir.
Right on. Cool. Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
And so this is involving the Town Site Act that we're working on. And so how is this paid for? Is this something that comes out of the landfill funding, or?
It would come out of the landfill funding, right?
It would, okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry?
Could I ask a quick question?
Yes, sir.
On this, it says for initial term October 21st, 2025 through January 12th, 2026. That's a matter of like a little over 3 months.
So that's, yeah, that would be a misprint then.
Uh-oh.
So it's about a 1-year term. So we would need to revise that to January.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to
Sure.
interject. We have to, because this is based on a state contract, our term has to align with the state contract. The state contract is up for renewal on January 12th, 2026. So I would assume, but I can't assume that it will be renewed. But once it is renewed by the state, we will process an amendment to extend the term.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Yeah. Okay.
I guess that creates a question.
Oh, yes, sir.
Rather than assume, if that's only 3 months away, is 3 months gonna jeopardize the progress of the activity, for what we need and what we need it for, and when we need it done?
That's that would be a contract question. I would have to go back and consult with procurement and finance on it.
Yeah, I mean, if we're okay in $238,000 for 3 months, assuming that it's going to get changed in January, how about if we just get this back in January to not assume how much progress is that going to delay for our landfill?
So I'm not exactly sure what it is you're trying to ask.
Okay. Input from somebody? I mean, I don't want to delay the expansion of landfill at all. But it would be nice to be more clear on what we're approving today, and if it can be put off for till January, when we're not assuming what's gonna happen after January.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Humphrey, I would see two options that when we come to January, that if it's gonna take a year to do it, that we're gonna get a quarter of the way through the project, and then, so roughly 90,000 of it, or 80,000 of it spent, and then that we either have to, if the state does not award another statewide contract, that we would have to contract individually with Kimley Horn, or else we could go piggyback on a state contract at that time to finish out the remainder of the contract. This contract would be, it's that they're going to deliver a final product, but there's not enough time to complete that. So if they've signed a contract to say, we're going to do this final product for this certain amount, there would be an obligation, I believe. And Joe, you can correct me, but there would be an obligation for them to finish it for that amount. So it would be more of an extension, either individually, between us and Kimley Horn directly, or through a state contract.
Mr. Chairman, yes, that is correct, because they're the other party in the contract, and if they accept the terms that are offered now, then those are the terms that will apply throughout the life of the contract. And generally, especially with a company like Kimley Horn, the state is more likely than not to extend that state contract that the county relied on when this contract was entered.
Okay, I just have got a more warm, fuzzy feeling now about $238,000 than I had a minute ago. So I guess if Mr. Minlove and county attorney thinks it's okay, well, I'm not going to argue with them.
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor. Did you have anything, Supervisor Klein?
No, we cross our fingers and see if it works.
Yeah, okay. So with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve contract number 240161-12-GC1 with Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated as presented.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have 4L, information, discussion, action to authorize the advertisement of invitation for bid number 100122025, the Gibson Ranch Road roadway improvement project.
Yes, good morning again. So this is a request for authorization to advertise for bids IFB number 100-12025, the Gibson Ranch Road roadway improvement project. This is a very important project for Gila County and for the residents. We've been working on this for quite some time. We have a full design. We've already advertised the project, and we decided to reject all those bids and re-advertise it again. And we want to move forward with this. It's going to be a chip seal project, about 2.5 miles long, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tom. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions at this time.
Okay, Supervisor Klein.
Tom, thanks for getting this out there. Maybe we can stay on track with May and have somebody in place to do it, so.
We want to go in May for
Yeah,
sure.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tom. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to authorize the advertisement of invitation for bids number 100-12025.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Tom. We have item 4M, information, discussion, action to adopt revised policy number, BOS HRS 010, attendance, holidays, and leave, to be in effect as of September 25th, 2025. Good morning, Rick Husk.
Good morning, Chairman, Supervisors. I'm coming to you, we've had to go through some policy changes as a result of the emergencies, and it brought some other issues to light, which have also, it appears, need to be addressed. So the first one is our current annual leave time is limited to 240 hours. That is currently, as indicated when I presented this on the board agenda, as one of the 3 lowest in the state. The average is approximately what we're asking for is for 320. We don't want employees to lose the benefits that they've earned if they can't because they're working and unable to take time off. Further, we don't want that to occur during an emergency situation where somebody might be maxing out on time in the next pay period, they lose a day or two. So that's why we're asking for this. Just for reference, other counties are as high as 400 hours of vacation time they allow people to accrue before they lose it, and one county is in fact unlimited amount of time that if you earn it, you keep it, you don't lose it. So we're asking for it to be in the medium here at 320 hours. As indicated, we've addressed this with other issues, including comp time, and we'd like to do the same here. So if you have any questions, happy to respond.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
No, Rick, other than just thank you, because like
Absolutely.
I say, our people work extremely hard.
Agreed.
And overtime, we've had nothing but fires and floods, it seems, one after another, and rain. So, you know, we appreciate them so much, so thank you for working on this to help them be able to either acquire some time or get paid. I appreciate that very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Klein.
So Rick, on our annual leave, we're gonna go to 320?
Yes, sir.
And on our comp time, it was 80, right?
Yes.
And so during that emergency declaration, we bumped it to 120.
Correct.
Where's it gonna go from there?
It's going to remain at 120, I believe.
Is that for right
Yes.
now, or is that from
That's
now
going
on?
forward.
Okay.
That's my understanding, yes.
But the annual leave itself will be at 320.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's a plus, so, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I guess my question is, what will be the outcome of this, given the past that we have had experienced? How many people have reached the 240 mark? And by expanding it to 320, how many people are we helping? A dozen, a half a dozen?
I think if you look around in your offices and in the Public Works Department and throughout the county, and you see the people that are regularly there, the people that are there early and leave late, those are the people you're helping. There are several people that are in positions where they just either can't or don't take vacation leave time because there's work to be done. And when they're there, when it needs to be done, those are the people that are at jeopardy of losing time. And that's what this is addressing for now.
Okay.
So I think that gives a significant period of time before they max out to the 320 range, and then we will be back to see you if that occurs very frequently with others.
So why do we have a number in the first place? If, I mean, why do we have a ceiling?
Because I think accounting has to account for the amount of accrual that we have, because it, at some point needs to be paid out. So my guess is that that's something that we need to keep on the books, that we are indebted for that amount at some point when people accrue that. They're going to have to get paid out. If they don't use it, they're going to get paid when they leave the county.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
It is a financial matter to the county because it is a true liability that we have to pay that amount out. And while somebody's employed, they may take that time off, and which would be considered a soft cost, meaning that we're going to pay their budgeted salary every year, whether they're working or not, based on having some accrued time off. As to the number of people, it's going to be probably the same that we have. That may be 20 to 25% of the people that will approach or come near to that maximum amount. At 240 hours, a lot of people that like to carry in a balance, they're going to carry that balance because they want to have some cushion. Something happens to them, they get in an accident, have severe illness or something like that, they want to be able to have some flexibility. At 230 hours, it doesn't really give much flexibility. When you get to 320, that gives more of an opportunity for employees to carry some time in case of an emergency, and to be able to still plan for vacations and do other things that they can, instead of, I'm going to use Rick for an example, he loses at least a day a month because he just works and he enjoys working, and there are a number of people like that. But with 320, it gives a little bit more flexibility. But having a cap on it instead of just going to the unlimited, it also helps us to manage the liability and amount of a liability that we have to record and book on our financial statements, present as a liability in our financial statements, which is a negative. All liabilities are a negative, something that we have to pay. So I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it does. So I guess what we're saying though too is that if a person reaches the maximum and we tell them they have to work through an emergency or something like that, they're not going to be compensated for that.
That is correct.
Yeah. I don't think that's right, but anyway.
But, Mr. Chair, for
Yes, sir.
me, in those circumstances like we just seen previously, we can bring those kind of circumstances back in front of us as a board, and we can change that for that emergency or whatever.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Klein, we certainly could, when we do a declaration of an emergency, as we've done twice in the past 6 weeks, that we could say, and to waive the limitation of 320 hours or put a different maximum on it for the duration of the emergency that you as a board have declared.
Okay.
So for my opinion alone, having a number for annual leave and comp time isn't a bad thing. I mean, we see burnout in our people too, and I know that there are people like you, Rick, that do work. They work all the time, and it takes a long time to get to that 240 mark. And a lot of people don't want to lose that either. They want to carry that over for, just as you said, or for retirement, they get paid off for it. So, but in the same token, it's also good to see people somewhere along the way, we say, hey, burn it. You need to go somewhere for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, you know, get your head back on straight and let's go again. So I, for one, don't mind seeing the hours. It's just where is those hours going to be, you know? But like we did with the declaration the other day, I think that was a good thing. And as long as we keep that capability, then I'm good.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Klein, it kind of behooves us as employees to, just as you're saying, that we need to have a break, and that's what it's intended, is to recharge, rejuvenate, and help us to be better employees, and that's the whole reason for annual leave. And that we need to have a reason to take that time off and have time to ourselves, to remind us that there's that we need to balance our lives. We talk about that a lot, but sometimes it doesn't happen very often.
And I can't blame Mr. Menlove for that because I brought a lot of that time over with me from Brad Beauchamp in the county attorney's office.
So do we get to charge it back to him?
Yeah, yes.
I say so.
Okay.
I'm not gonna ask you. You guys are welcome to, but I'm not gonna.
That was a wise choice. I will now call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt policy number BOS-HRS-010, attendance, holidays, and leave to be in effect as of September 21st, 2025.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
A motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. And for our last item, 4N, information, discussion, action to adopt revised policy number BOS-HRS 011, overtime pay and compensatory, is that right? Okay. Okay. I need to be in effect as of September 25th, 2025. Tell us what that's about.
Thank you, Chairman and Supervisors Humphrey and Supervisor Klein. This also resulted from the emergency situation. Our employees who are exempt were unable to gain comp time. They were working hours, and pursuant to our current policies, it says what the first portion of this says: employees who are exempt from overtime requirements of Fair Labor Standards Act are paid on a salary basis. Situations in which exempt employees are required to work more than 40 hours a week shall not result in compensatory time or additional compensation, and that's where it ended. We're asking the board to consider amending that to say, unless an emergency is declared by the Board of Supervisors or the chairman of the Board of Supervisors as he or she deems necessary to avoid delay, in the event that an emergency in the event that an exempt employee is required to work more than 40 hours per week during a declared emergency, the exempt employee shall be paid for any and all additional hours at exempt employee's regular rate of pay or straight time pursuant to the Fair Labor and Standards Act. They are not allowed to get time and a half, but we're asking that they be paid straight time for that during an emergency.
Okay, Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I have no questions talking about this, so.
Supervisor Klein.
What was the discussion like about the time and a half versus straight time?
Non-exempt employees, which are the individuals who are not supervisory level or determined to be exempt for, again, Fair Labor and Standards Act. They are entitled to overtime pay, time and a half. The overtime pay that exempt employees are limited to is straight time, and so that's the difference.
Okay. And they'll just remain that?
Yes.
Okay.
They will acquire additional pay at their equivalent of their hourly rate, even though they're salaried.
Do you have something to say?
Mr. Chairman, at some point, just wanted to add that these are backdated to September 25th, which was the date of the first flooding in Miami.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
you're going to see a big bill.
Yeah, yeah. Marion will be ready for it.
Yes.
So there's no limit on these numbers here, so.
That's correct.
Somebody puts in 100 hours a week for 6 weeks, you know, and they'll get paid regular time.
Yes, sir.
So if it's only because of an emergency, why don't we just do that during an emergency versus change the policy?
The policy provides for that exception during an emergency, if it's declared by the chairman or the members of the board. Otherwise, we'll let
Boss
just
just
Marion.
showed up.
So just to clarify, in order for these hours and dollars to be submitted for reimbursement, the policy has to be in place.
Okay.
It can't,
Gotcha.
right, so we need to make sure that this is in place ahead of time so that we can demonstrate that the board had this intention.
Okay.
So even if it's not reimbursable, it's still an expense on the county's books. The comp time is not reimbursable, but we have heard from enough people that it's important to the staff that, that HR and management work together to provide that additional opportunity.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification. Yes, sir.
Marion, can you explain that a little bit? Because to me, it seems like comp time would be able to be in dollars as well. So why would those dollars, I'm just asking because it's a question I've had in my mind. Why would those dollars not be reimbursable?
You put me in a,
Federal law.
yes, I was gonna say, you put me in a very challenging situation of diplomacy here. There's a 300-page book from FEMA in my bag that has all these rules, and that's one of them, is that it has to be paid out overtime. And there are other municipalities that won't let people take or accrue comp time during an emergency, but it's been made very clear to us that several of our staff members would much prefer to accrue additional comp time than to get paid overtime. So this accommodation is something that really is an investment in our people and their preferences.
Okay, thank you, that's good to know.
I'm sorry, Supervisor, did you have something to add?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I do believe the city of Globe is not allowing comp time because they won't be reimbursed for comp time. And so some of the people that get so much overtime, when they're paid in a different tax bracket. So they end up losing money over a certain amount of overtime, then they get lesser money paid to them. And so I'm grateful to our system that will bend enough to say, okay, you guys are not going to get comp time because we want to get reimbursed. Well, those are the ones that are putting all their time and energy and effort out. And if they want time off rather than to lose money in overtime, God bless them. I appreciate our staff very much for helping them with that over a few dollars of reimbursement to us as a county.
I totally agree. It's just that my question has always been, why is that the case, you know? Personally, I'd rather any day have the comp time than I would of the overtime, just because of that. Taxes.
Because of state and federal rules.
We can't change those rules. And just to clarify something, Supervisor made a really good point about the tax brackets on the paycheck. So even though the federal government has done away with tax on overtime, it doesn't happen at the paycheck level. That tax refund won't happen until after people do their 2025 income tax return. So Supervisor's right, like at the immediate level, this lets our people keep more of their take-home pay.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the clarification. I don't have any other questions. I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to adopt revised policy number BOHHRS 011, overtime pay and comp leave to be in effect as of September 25th, 2025.
Mr. Chair, I will second that.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Mr. Husk. Moving on. Our consent agenda items are items 5A through J. Supervisor Humphrey, would you like to discuss any or more of those separately?
No, I'm good with the consent agenda items.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein, same question.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, then I will call for a motion to approve consent agenda items A through J.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 5A through 5J. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We do have a motion and it's, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, very good. Our next item is call to the public. This is where the public can approach us and say a few things. We're not going to vote on it and very likely not going to have very many comments about it. But it is an opportunity for the public to do that. It's our item 6, And I have in my possession a request from at least one here in Globe. And his name is Jim Bannon. And so I'd like to invite him up to the podium. And sir, we like to limit it to 3 minutes, if that's something you can work with.
Mr. Chairman, Gila County District Supervisors, and hundreds of you in Payson, distinguished guests, and on YouTube, all the wonderful taxpayers who all report to and are pledged to serve. And although I've prepared, I realize that if I ever stand in front of you again, I gotta ask Mark Lamb for his hat.
Oh.
So my dad taught me to be brief and to be gone. So this morning I'll attempt to live up to my reputation as being an average speaker, but hope to prove that moving forward lockstep with you to be an exceptional listener. Let us never forget, you swore an oath to work for the constituents while taxes pay your salaries and be caring public servants. Plus, unlike the 35,000 documented lies we have heard from the orange buffoon, 34-time convicted felon, let's really perform as honest servant leaders. I am humbly honored to stand before you, especially during this time of painful tragedy, but also unbridled opportunity. We've all heard the phrase, Phoenix rising from the ashes. I'd like to propose a new mantra, hashtag Globe Miami Rising. The importance of using the hashtag or the number sign will soon be evident. I am Jim Bannon, the good Bannon. It took 9 years for me and my buddies to get the other one in prison, but we recently did that. I have 6 international companies as founder, angel investor, or major equity partner, all in the communication arena. I'm excited to announce that Elon is no longer the richest man in the world after our starfighters took a $499 million order away from SpaceX to do the next 128 communication satellite launches for our trusted allies and northern neighbors who are so pissed at the tariffs and the billionaire guy that nobody voted for. As for here at home in Gila County, Mayor Al Gamaros and Senator Ruben Gallego keenly observed we can re-engineer strategically planned advancements and rebuild our hometowns to become much better than before the night of September 25th and the subsequent second flood. I pledge my president, Dr. Chuck Smith, a Globe resident who lives along Six Shooter Canyon, although I've yet to tell him, wait till he finds out, he'll see this on YouTube. That'll teach him to spend the last 3 weeks in Tucson while I've been here passing out clothing and supplies alongside people with real life angels like Superior's Central Bakery, who rented a U-Haul truck, filled it with tons of critical supplies, and quietly, without bragging, opened shop in the Globe parking lot. Or the Kearney church folks who quietly loaded a trailer full of shovels, waters, gaylords filled with clothes and other supplies,
Mr.
and
Bannon?
Kearney's Ace Hardware.
Mr. Bannon?
Yes, sir.
Your time has expired. Are you close to the end of your comment?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a website, and I'm going to
Okay.
follow with a written email. I really do thank you for this time, and I'm committing everything I have to support you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in Globe that wishes to speak? Please introduce yourself, sir.
Joe Madrid, Mayor of Miami. I just wanted to step up and let Gila County supervisors know that Miami, all of the citizens, all of our staff appreciate all that you've done during these difficult times. And coming together like we had, I have in my entire career in engineering and construction never seen that kind of collaboration. And you guys, I just want to let you know that we're very appreciative. We're in the beginning of starting all over again with Miami strategic planning, as soon as we get this mess cleaned up, and I think it's gonna take, the rest of the year to get to the point where we've got it back and we're up and running again with our strategic planning. But just wanna thank you guys. I appreciate it. I know that the community does.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, appreciate that. It's good to be able to work together to help people. Is there anyone else here in Globe that wishes to respond to call to the public? I'll take that as a no. Cassandra? No. How many do we have on the internet today? 51. Lisa, looks pretty vacant. Is there anyone in Payson?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you for your help today. I will now close call to the public. And item 7 is our reports. I'll turn it over to our county manager, Mr. Menlove.
Mr. Chairman, last week I attended the Arizona Department of Transportation Annual Policy Summit in Sierra Vista. My purpose in attending there is to ensure that Gila County is forefront on the ADOT board and keeping our projects and things alive and well that we have going on. Of course, we've got washout here west of Miami and continue tremendous needs here in Gila County. So we appreciate the ADOT board and their commitment to Gila County and the resources that they commit to us. This week, attending the Arizona Association of Economic Development, continue to try to push for economic development in our county. And then, of course, the week after, we are all at the County Supervisors Association Legislative Summit, where we plan for the legislative session that will begin in January. I look forward to those events and having the communication and ability to shape the future of Gila County. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Oh, can I?
Yes, I was going to say, did you miss anything?
I missed the most important thing of all.
Okay.
May I ask Christine Smith to come to the podium? I want to introduce Christine as our new Public Works Director. Christine has a wealth of experience and knowledge and abilities that I'm excited that she brings to Gila County. She's worked for the city of Phoenix, actually ran the airport in many ways, and so, you know, Sky Harbor is a city unto itself, and Christine worked with that, went out to, is Goodyear, wasn't it? Goodyear as Public Works Director there, and then most recently, town of Payson. And we are very fortunate to have Christine to join Gila County, and would like to give her an opportunity to address you and introduce herself.
Sure.
Good morning, supervisors. I just want to say I'm very glad to be here. I've had a place in Gila County for over 20 years, and I love Gila County. So I see this as a wonderful opportunity for me to bring my skill sets and hopefully help all of our citizens here, and also to help make sure that this organization is successful. As you have all noted, our Public Works team is doing a tremendous job under a lot of pressure, especially given some of the FEMA requirements. I know you wanted to honor some of them today, but they are out on the roads, and so I'm sure they still appreciate all your words, and we just want to say thank you for that. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey, do you have anything you'd like
I don't, other than welcome, and I'm looking forward to a ride along with you in an hour.
Yes.
Great. Supervisor Klein.
Christine, welcome to Gila County, and yeah, I'll get in touch with you. We'll visit.
Okay.
Yes, and thank you, Christine. I think we have a meeting on Thursday.
Yes.
And I plan on showing you a few things. I asked Supervisor Humphrey if it'd be all right if I took you and showed you the condition of the Gila Road. I'd like to do the same on Gibson Ranch Road, since it's kind of right there, as long as Supervisor Klein didn't plan on doing that himself. I can show her Gibson Ranch Road, if that's all right.
I have no problems with it, because Tom's going to fix it here come May.
So I
It's high
plan
on the
on,
list.
I wish you the best. We're going to help you succeed, and it's one of the biggest departments that we have, if not the biggest. So look forward to working with you.
Same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's turn it over to Supervisor Humphrey.
On the 7th, I held a Tunnel Basin Community Meeting. On the 8th, I met with my monthly meeting with County Manager, Deputy County Manager, and department heads to go over projects in District 2 underway and some that we want to get underway. And I also held a Roosevelt community meeting on the 13th, and both of my community meetings, they're monthly meetings. I do that every month to get in touch with what's going on in the community. And so other than that, and answer many phone calls and emails from people from the public, that's about where I've been lately.
Very good. Supervisor Klein.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I didn't have a whole lot going on. A lot of my stuff got cut back and stuff, flooding and whatnot. You know, spend a lot of time on the phones as well. Tomorrow, there's a ribbon cutting session in Winkleman, but I may need to have you cover for me tomorrow. We'll just see. And other than that, that's it.
Okay, thank you. I don't have a tremendous amount to report other than the northern part of the county has been very active with various things, such as we had a car show, and it rained like crazy, but the turnout was still very good. It did stop raining around 11. It was just a beautiful day at that point. So really good there. This last Saturday, there was a bike run, the Christopher Creek that's in your area, the Highline bike race thing, and that's building. I commend those people that are volunteering for that. It's building an economy, and the reputation in northern Gila County is building for our hiking and bicycling groups, and that's super good amount of money and participation coming into Gila County, which benefits the economy, and then they all go home, and it's just great. There was another event earlier that day. What was it? Sorry, the Aero Fair. Yes, very good. The Aero Fair at the Payson. Was that Melissa or just the Lord? The Aero Fair is building. We had old cars, old planes, people playing in the band, the booths, the helicopters, just going everywhere, and that's building. Great economy for the Payson area, Payson Airport, and the participation's unbelievable. The amount of people that want to go out there with their kids and stuff, it's just really great. So lots happening in that area. I look forward to our Yuma trip, so we'll be heading down next week to do that and all of that. Did you have another thing?
If I could, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I know Mrs. Grice and Mrs. Melvin this last weekend, they participated in hosting a group of motorcycle riders at the Pleasant Valley Veterans Retreat. And again, that's riders from all over the West. And they came into Pleasant Valley, and I haven't got a direct report from Mrs. Grice or Mrs. Melvin yet, but I believe that it went really well. So
Great, awesome stuff.
Let me
Yes,
add
sir.
one thing to that. I got a chance to meet that second group that came in there. Really good group of folks there. I asked them, I said, who came the furthest to be here? And it was a guy from Michigan.
Oh my goodness.
Traveled the furthest. But had a wonderful time. They all did, and they were happy. They were good.
Very good. I'm very excited about Pleasant Valley Veterans Retreat. It's really coming right along, even though it's just in the very beginning stages of becoming just super magnificent. It's just going to be there. And it might be after all of us, but it's just going to build and do really great. So, very encouraging words. That's all we have for the reports. And so we do have one item left, though. It looks like item number 8. It's a work session item. There is no action on this item. Information discussion regarding recreational vehicles in Gila County, and provide staff with direction as appropriate. Mr. Plummer.
So I'm glad to hear that Supervisor Humphrey has an appointment, so then I can move this through a little quicker. So I've been here 8 years, and this is our 6th work session on this item. they weren't all done by me, but prior director has dealt with this. Recreational vehicles, oh, thank you. Recreational vehicles are a thing in all counties. I was asked what other counties are doing. Some don't allow them at all. Some allow everything. Not sure how they do it. I've been in contact with them and asking how they do it. They're not sure how they do it. I've got one county that's trying to rent helicopters just to fly over to see how many RVs are illegally put where they can't get to. So it's a vast array of items, and Gila County is divided very differently. With Pine Strawberry, which has very few RVs. They have a couple, but pretty small area, most housing there. We have Tonto Basin, which has, and we know as the new land dividing from the bridge is going on, everyone thinks they should be able to put an RV on their site. And in Young, there's currently a lot of RVs in there, and people have put them up and used them and gone forward. So we have a pretty diverse group to try to come up to a solution and use and allowance and see how we can get there. I push the top button? That button. Okay. So, state of Arizona. This is even into the state where they have an ARS statute, 33-2102, which addresses recreational vehicles. This goes into between a camping trailer mounted on wheels. This is a Class A motor vehicle. This is a park trailer, a park model, which is on wheels. This is a travel trailer. This is campers on the back of trucks. Basically, they all come on wheels and are used and are supposed to be either towable or movable under their own power. The good and bad about that is they leave a lot of stuff not in their definitions. So we're going to try to address a lot of that. And then in the county ordinance, we basically match it. We'll copy and paste anything we can. And as you notice here, ours follow the state standards pretty well, almost exactly. I think we change a few words, trying to condense it a little, but we basically go in that it's on wheels and it moves by itself and all that good stuff. Our towable, we have some areas where there's more and not, and so on and so on. But then we go into what the manufacturer designed a RV for. They do not meet building codes. They do not meet dwelling requirements. They are designed for a very specific purpose, and I will get into that. For recreational use are for temporary living or recreational purpose that are not intended to be a permanent dwelling. Recreational fields do not meet building codes. So they don't have the same requirements for egress, getting in and out. They don't have the same size of doors. They don't have the same electrical. They are built to a guideline. Guidelines can be changed. So tomorrow they could get the RV something association, and I forget that name is. They could get together and say, we want to allow smaller windows. And the guidelines can be changed by a vote, and we have smaller windows in an RV. I will thoroughly admit that if my RV catches on fire, I will get out. One way or another, whether it's through the side or through the window. But I'm getting out, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure my family got out also. So it is not saying that it's not feasible, but it is not designed to the same requirements of the building code. The wiring sizes don't match, egress doesn't match, all that stuff doesn't, but it is built for recreational purposes. Per the Gila County zoning ordinance, recreational vehicles are not permitted as primary dwellings or accessory dwellings. Can't have an ADU, you can't have an RV and call it an ADU in any zone, unless they are in an approved park. And that has a T overlay, and our definition is if you have more than one RV, it is considered a park. And then you would have to have the T overlay to allow that. This is where we come into a lot of problems. I will say RVs are only mentioned in our ordinance, I believe, 3 times. And over the interpretations, again, this is why we're rewriting the zoning ordinance. Under interpretations, everyone says we have recreational area. We do. We have the lake. So, and the definition of GU is for recreational purposes. It never says RVs are allowed. It was an interpretation by one of the directors that said, GU, you can have an RV. You can have one, but you can have an RV. And I will say that all directors since then have said, yeah, it makes sense, and we don't want to tell someone they have to move or do something different. So under whatever guidance that was given, that was what GU was used for. Again, it goes into the 2 or more. It's a park. All residential zoning districts except R1L, which you notice we rezoned earlier today to R1L. An approved temporary use permit, a rec trail can be used as a temporary living quarters where they are related to an active building permit except R1L. R1L has went through, like I said, it was our most restrictive. It says you can't have an RV on our site, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. They don't want manufactured homes. They don't want RVs. They want stick built in their district, and that's what is there. And so it's worked out well. It's usually a little bit oversized lots, a little bit bigger, nicer homes, and everything else that goes along with it. Temporary living definition gets very, very limited. Again, the manufacturer said this is for temporary living, recreational, camping, so on, but they don't define that. So you go to Arizona state law, temporary living is defined as an operation of a business or occupancy, such as hotels and motels and inns. Doesn't really get into it. Campgrounds can, resorts, mobile home spaces intended for short-term stays. These establishments are subject to specific regulatory and tax obligations. They don't allow that for convalescent homes, hospitals, any of that stuff. You don't get to use an RV. Sorry, it's the way it is. Now, at the federal level, 14 days is the most popular answer. And even if you go to chat, something CPT, whatever that is, it says 14 days, but I will tell you there are some that allow 30 days. But 14 is the normal. If ever went camping in a national park, you know they tell you got to leave every 14 days. And that is to meet the requirements of the manufacturer and the use of what it was built for. Some forests go as low as 5 days, and some go as much as 30 days. The grasslands and the creations and some of that stuff, they have different times of the year, right? If you have the wooded frog thing living there, they don't want RVs around, and if they're not there, they allow you to stay there a little longer. So some of those change. Gila County zoning ordinance current RV has referenced RVs 3 times. Single family rural district SFR states that there shall be no more than 1 travel trailer or recreational vehicle stored on the same lot. Recreational vehicles shall not be used as permanent dwellings. Again, we're going to go back to R1L. States that no mobile, manufactured home or recreational vehicle be occupied as permanent or temporary dwelling unit in the R1L district. So even if you had an open permit and you're building your house, you don't get to stay in an RV in R1L. And then we have T. T is the overlay, the district that allows you to have a mobile home park. Those are only allowed to go with 4 distinct districts that we have, which is TR, R4, RR, and GR. What we talked about earlier was the TR on the rezoning that we talked about earlier in the day. TR goes with a T overlay. That's the only 4 that go with it. And so you can't put a T on R1L. You can't do any of that kind of stuff. So our ordinance has addressed this, and the only other place, there's 3, and I will tell you there is a 4th reference, and that is the definition, which we went through earlier on the slides. So that is the only 4 times that our ordinance talks about, addresses, looks at RVs, which you know there is a lot more situations, thoughts, use, and everything of RVs than those 4 items that we address. Oh, I missed a page. Okay, so we have growing areas here, especially in Tano area. I mean, it is growing like wildfire. We're splitting land. We're doing everything. So safety and health risk are a concern. RVs may not have adequate access to water, sewer, electric, heating, cooling, ventilation, fire protection, and waste disposal services. Everyone talks about black water and gray water in an RV. There is no definition that says gray water. It is got the kitchen sink that's in that tank, and the kitchen sink is considered black water. So basically all water that is put out of an RV is black. Well, we had a meeting yesterday, yesterday, with the Health Department, Public Works, wastewater, and community development, and we talked about all the things we have seen. Some of the stuff got fairly graphic. I won't bring that up, but we have people dumping in our streams, in our washes, in our curbs. I mean, they pull over, they don't want to haul the not good stuff back home, so they rather just dump it on the ground, and it's lighter, and they get better gas mileage, and they don't have to deal with it when they get home where they actually have to go in, hook it up, take a hose down here. They just rather pull a lever and start driving. So that's not a good thing. And one of the problems that we got into yesterday is that deodorizer that everyone puts in their RV tanks. Well, that kills the algae and the bugs that help eat the bad stuff. And you kill that, it doesn't eat, it just stays there. And it's a big problem that can affect all of our stuff. Aesthetics. RVs, and I'm an investor in an RV. I've never had an RV go up in price. They all go down. I mean, from day one to the end. And I've been looking, I don't know why I've been looking, but I've been looking at the expensive ones. There's people spending $3 million on an RV, and they sure are pretty. But they even say on the broadcast, day one, that starts going down. So here we have a $3 million RV. At some point, it's going to be worth nothing. And that's not a great investment, but that's the investment that people are making, and they're taking them on their trips and enjoying that. But that is a problem. Then we have enforcement. Again, the water, sewer, people putting them where R1L, right? It specifically says we don't want them here. And people pull up, they said, I bought this land, I'm going to do what I want. And they pull up and they put out a mat and an RV and say, I'm here. Which then turns around and ticks off all the other neighbors who have spent, between a couple $100,000 to $1 million on their house, and they're sitting next to an RV that has a broken down car, a broken down boat next to it, or just a lot of stuff, because there's not a lot of storage on RVs, so there can be a lot of stuff outside. Then we get into taxations and concerns like this, where they're getting the same services that person who spent $1 million on their home, the same that we talked about earlier, the same 5 acre parcels that are gonna be, I'm gonna tell you, those homes are not gonna be cheap, but you park an RV next to that, that's not something you really were expecting in your neighborhood when you go and purchase that and build your homes. And they get the same stuff. Now, they do pay ADOT, their taxes for their tags, most of the time. A lot of times when they sit on properties, they don't pay those ADOT taxes. They don't have to either. I will tell you from experience that if you set one on a property and that property is private, you don't have to have tags to be on that property. So they may pay the first time when they pull it off the lot, but they don't pay it again when they set it on a lot to be living out of. So there's no taxes being collected on that. And per our assessor, properties that have an RV on it are not taxed as a development. They're not being taxed as an improvement on that property. It's like that property is empty because that RV is not allowed to be a dwelling. Per the manufacturers, per the state, per anyone that has defined it, those are not allowed. So, the next one here, one of the options, tiny homes, right? An RV in the old days used to be 360 square feet or smaller. That was kind of in the definition of an RV. They have changed that since then, because now you have pop-outs. You could have 1 or 4. Haven't seen 5 yet, but they have porches that fold out. They have, so they took off square footage out of the definition, but tiny homes still have square footage on a definition. So in Arizona, you can have a home built below 400 square feet, and it falls under the tiny homes in the building code. And the smallest you can really get to, it just depends on kind of the building code, the interpretation of it, is around 200 square feet, which 200 square feet ain't a whole lot. That's like 2 tough sheds, and that's not really big enough, in my opinion, to enjoy home living. Now, some people do that when they aren't planning on being here, when they only want to come up every 3rd weekend or 3rd month. We have lots of them, I can tell you through code enforcement, that where people take a tough shed and say they dug a hole under it, made a cesspool, and try to live in their sheds. You know, I don't know that that's our call, except that it is our call that they are in violation of the zoning district, and we go forward on that. And no tough shed, and I have talked to the vice president of Tough Shed, no tough shed is built to be a dwelling. All tough sheds are built to be used, which are storage, right, for everything else. Now, the problem with tiny homes that is an alternative to RVs is you start looking at the cost with the land. It's not really a good investment. I came from the Prescott area, which is very much into yurts and tiny homes and all those kind of things. And everyone comes in and says, hey, will you guys allow us to build a tiny home? We certainly will. But when they see the price of land and everything else that goes with it, they decide to go bigger because they got to make more money. So some of the consideration, I will tell you, I have screwed up. I was supposed to provide you a bunch of pictures, which I screwed up and don't have a huge amount of pictures here. But one of the things that we've talked about are how do we deal with this? One, we can just say it's not allowed, period. If you talk to Payson, you cannot have an RV unless it's in a park. Talk to Globe, they don't want them, but there are certain districts that allow them. You can talk to Yavapai County, Coconino County. I didn't really go to the valley because that's not like what we do, but they're very limited. They're not open dwellings that people just can live in. No one is accepting that in the districts I talked about. So one of the things that we talked about, what can the supervisors do? One is encourage development of tiny homes or ADUs, which you now know the state law has addressed ADUs and are bringing them forward. and allowing those to be there. Support the creation of additional RV parks if that's what we want. Again, they basically have a lot full of things that are going down in value. So there's deciding that. Consider a permit for allowing an RV park for designated time zone. So I don't know the best way with doing this because I will tell you our current staff, we can't track all the RVs and tell you that this one's only here for 3 months, this one's here for 6 months. We can't do that at this point, nor do I think we want to. We can continue just enforcing our codes the way they are, and we do keep it down to a minimal-ish amount. It just, you know, during the summer it comes much bigger and much more, and you know, there might be times, I will say this, through this flooding time, if there's a lot of houses going down, that might be an option that under the emergency decree, you want to say that they can keep the RVs for a certain amount of time, and then they have to remove them. That's all up to the board, and I'm just here to get directions on which way you want me to go. And I have an idea which way each supervisor would like to go, but we'll bring that out. Some of the stuff that we are moving forward that we think should be required. RVs must be connected to an approved wastewater system. So I don't care if you're in GU, R1, anywhere, that if you don't have a wastewater system on that parcel, you don't have an RV. And I will tell you, and again, in talking with health department and everyone else yesterday, they all agreed that that's a problem. I have pictures, and I do have pictures, but I just didn't get them in the presentation. I mean, basically, there's hoses going that way and then into a hole. And there is no wastewater system there. They pull it out, they dig another hole next time they come up. There's some stuff that's not good. They should have to all meet setbacks. I mean, that's just standard. The board voted on setbacks. They expect everything to be there. Must comply with department standards for flood, grading, drainage, and health. Again, you know, we have people that will dig because they're hidden from stuff and put stuff in. I've got pictures of where the RVs are draining on their neighbor's yard because they didn't want it on their yard. And so the neighbor wasn't occupying the property, so they ran a hose to the neighbor's property and put stuff there that they didn't want to take with them. Establishing a maximum time frame. Again, no RV, period, the $3 million one or the less one, is not designed to be a permanent dwelling. So I don't think legal would allow us to ever say that it can be a permanent dwelling. That time frame, that's going to be something to discuss and talk with and determine that. Some of the other things we've talked about is limiting the year. I will tell you, we have, you know, that $3 million RV sitting next to you, it really doesn't big eyesore. The 1967 RV that has not been maintained can, and that becomes an issue. RV should only be used for the registered owner of the property. We have some, I will tell you, that they've tried to submit through short-term rentals that an RV should be used, and if the owner is going to put it on his property while he's doing something, then he should be the only one staying there. No additional structures on the property without a use permit. And that's a zoning thing that we come into play. Is it's the supervisors at one point voted that if the property does not have a primary use, so if the property is residential, it should have a primary use, which is residential. You shouldn't be able to put stuff out there and garages and storing everything and not have a house on the property. So it says you have to get a use permit. We allow up to 2 items on a property, so a garage and a well house or carport or shed. And we put time frames on there because that's what the zoning says to do. And no outside storage, we put limitations on that kind of stuff, but all the lighting has to meet dark sky ordinance and so on. So currently, in enforcement and oversight, if a valid complaint is received, the RV usually has to be removed. I don't know what happened there, but, oh, okay, thought I was losing it. So here is a RV in District 2. If you notice that fence line, it's going to the neighbor. And they were originally hidden behind a tree, but now that if you notice that construction behind them, that is a unpermitted house that they're going forward with, and ignored all the red tags that we put on there, but that's what they were doing. They were dumping for a long time. If you can see all that dead stuff, that you would think it'd be nice and green and plush. Well, it's not. This is again something that we need to look at. These are a few of the pictures. This is here in Globe. You see stuff being dumped and running down our drains in the streets, and I don't think we want that stuff there. And they brought chairs out, they set mats out. They're living in the street in front of a neighbor who doesn't want them living there, but you know, there's not a whole lot the neighbor could do, so he called us and called complaints in. With that, I'm going to let you ask any questions. I will try to come up with an answer. I will tell you there is no one answer that's going to cover all this. I'm here to, we're trying to separate RVs into a separate ordinance, but it won't be in the zoning ordinance. It'll be a standalone ordinance. And so I'm here to get comments. Said I kind of expect some of the comments and hopefully can answer them. But if not, I will get you an answer and send you the answers in an email. And I will probably forward you the pictures that I screwed up on and then put in here. With that, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Randy. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, Randy, this is an ordinance I wanted to bring. I appreciate your presentation, but I've been down to many rat holes with this presentation. I don't know if we're doing tough sheds, tiny homes. I'm not sure where we're at now. But I was really wanting to try to get some kind of ordinance on our RVs, because in rural areas, recreational areas, we're having an issue because we have allowed people to put RVs on lots. And so now that Tonto Basin is growing, we've got a lot in Roosevelt. There are no pictures, but there's a lot of trailers, fifth wheels, motor homes on a lot right across the street from a $300,000 home. And we're a county that lives on 3.5% of our tax base. And so all of those RVs that are coming in, and so there's complete neighborhoods now because we've allowed it, and they don't have septic tanks. And so, like you say, they got hoses in the ground. And so we're letting them come and recreate on weekends and have their fifth wheels, their motor homes. And now they're putting up little sheds with washers and dryers, and there's no ordinance. And we can't give them an ordinance to live in them, but could we give them a 6-month permit? Perhaps. And then they would need a septic tank. I would think if you're going to buy property in Gila County and you're going to recreate there or spend much time there, I would think that you would need a septic tank. But like I say, I'm not sure where we're going to go with this ordinance, because I don't know how blown up it's going to get, whether we're going to go with an RV ordinance into tiny homes, into tough sheds, into RVs, into motorhomes. I don't know. But anyway, we started this a long time ago, and we were starting to work on something for RVs in Gila County years back, and then short-term rentals became more important than this. Now that short-term rentals are taken care of, I wanted to get back into this. And so RVs were just allowed, okay, because we're gonna work on an ordinance. Well, we haven't. And they've been allowed. Now the realtors are selling lots, and they're still allowed. And they're getting to be, you can't buy a house, or you can't build a house for under $200,000-$300,000. So now an area that's opened up that could be a great recreational and a tax area is getting littered with trailers with their sewer running on the ground. Mr. Chair, that's all I have.
Thank you, Supervisor Klein.
You ready for me, Randy?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I agree with you on part of that, Tim, and other parts of it. Just be heads up. I do agree that if you're gonna have an RV, you should have a septic system. You know,
Okay.
And I will tell you too that even if that was put into an ordinance, unless you have the enforcement people to stay on top of it, you're not gonna change those that are parked in the streets or running sewer on the ground. You know, it's just, you're gonna be reactive to neighbors and stuff like that, just as you are right now. And so, there's a couple of things. I don't care about the manufacturer's label on RV saying it's not for permanent habitat. That's a CYA deal from every one of those RV manufacturers. That's what that is. That's not law. And so I care nothing about that. I care more about, you know, me as a person. You know, if I'm gonna buy this, what am I gonna do with it? Can I live in it? Can I use it on weekends? Can I, you know, use it for a bunkhouse for a guest or something? That's what I care about. The other thing of it is ARS statute. What I didn't hear you say, and maybe Joe, this is the question for you, is under ARS statute, does our state law say you cannot live in an RV?
If that specifically, I cannot answer that off the top of my head right now.
So I've done a little bit of checking, and I can't answer it 100% either, Joe, so I ask you. But from what I'm gathering, no, it doesn't. And so that's, to me, we're trying to enforce something that we're not even covered by the state, if that's the case. We're going beyond what the state is actually doing. I don't think it's in our place to do that. I think we have rules and laws and stuff behind us on what we do. I get it. But when we're trying to implement something that's stronger than the state, what are we doing? That would be my question. Secondly, we have tons of RVs. Every county in Arizona has tons of RVs. I mean, I don't believe that's an argument with anybody. Some of them are in parks, RV parks. Some of them are on hookups on private property. Some of them are sitting out in the streets, just like we've all heard. We want to limit RVs on our property. If I buy a piece of property, and I agree with the septic system deal, and power actually, but you want to tell me I can't park there, but I could go down here on the corner on 60 and park right there to park? Why is there a difference? Why are we doing that? We have people that come into Globe area right here that'll stay a year working at the mines. They live in RVs and they park there or they park somewhere else. But yet that same person can't go to, say, my house and park an RV there that has sewer and has electric. Why are we cutting hairs, splitting hairs on that deal? I think in a lot of ways we're way too deep in this RV bit than what we need to be. I understand the R1L zoning. I think that's black and white. It's there. That's the way it is. I know that there's deed restrictions on different properties throughout our county and throughout the state of Arizona that isn't going to allow an RV. I get that. So if I buy into something like that, I accept those terms. I know that. But when I go and I buy a piece of property in Young, Arizona, which has no zoning, which I do really like, Randy, especially after listening to all this, or I go buy a piece of property in Tono Basin that's zoned, I get it, you know, but if I can set up an RV there that I'm not running the sewer on the neighbors and I'm not causing an issue, but this is my property and I want to live in it, and yet we're going to sit here and step out there and say, no, you can't, or may, I won't vote for something like that. I think there's a way of putting this together that would satisfy all these issues that you've pointed out. What you haven't pointed out is the pluses to RVs. The people that can't afford to go buy that home for $300,000, they can afford to buy the property right now, and then in 5 years, we're going to save our money and we're going to build a home. But in those 5 years, I got to have a place to live. You know, that to me is an advantage to having an RV. Or, and I'm going to use it just like you did, the flood victims that are down here. Those poor folks have to do something. They can't just pick up and turn around and set a brand new house in place or go buy another one. You know, so they got to look at their options and what they can do, which RVs provide that option. I know that what you say as far as the older trailers versus the new ones, I know there's a difference. But yet a lot of these 60 model RV trailers are being sold for a fortune because they're being refurbished and rebuilt. But then you see the junkers sitting out there, and I get it. We're cleaning up at some of those, actually, in there. So I honestly believe when it comes to a lot of this, it's about enforcement. And a lot of times, Randy, I'll tell you probably more times than not, a neighbor will turn somebody in for an RV that, oh, they're mad at them for whatever else, but this is what they can ding you on. Our enforcement folks will drive by 3 or 5 of them to get to that one, and that's the one they talk to. That we don't stop and talk to the other ones until there's an issue. And that doesn't just happen with us. That happens across the board. I've asked those questions. And a lot of the answers are we turn our head until there's an issue. And so I've seen that personally. I've been a part of that. And so I know that happens. The deodorizer stuff you claim that's put in tanks, that's bogus. It does kill the bugs, like you said. That is true. Well, how many cleaning products, ladies, are out there that has Lord knows what chemicals in them that go down the drains and into wastewater? A lot. I had this discussion at the PVVR. We actually put in a dump site that cost us, I don't know how much money, that we threw out in the wind because we weren't going to let RVs dump into our sewer system. But yet we could go clean a bathroom in a barracks there and dump Clorox and Lord knows what else into our systems. But, oh no, that won't do it. But that little deodorizer stuff that you put in those tanks will. No, that's BS. You know, what I'm saying is I think there's, as far as everybody's concerned, and I'm concerned, not everybody, I guess I shouldn't say that, we have to be accountable for what we're doing. We have to do things right. We don't go out there laying hoses on the ground, draining it to the neighbors, you know? If you're gonna put something in your facility, your wastewater facility, then add the bugs back or do whatever you need to do. So when I look at this and I look at all the different issues that are out there, the taxes on the RVs, you're right. Those are all paid through MVD. But so are these 60 model trailers or 70 model trailers that are out here throughout Gila County. Those are paid through MVD. That's where those tags are paid. Unless they're attached to the property, we are not collecting taxes on trailers.
I currently own a manufactured home that I have not attached, and I pay taxes, I pay 2 tax bills. One for the land and one for them, and it doesn't go to DMV, it goes to the county.
Well, I'm the opposite. I own one too, and I pay the taxes on mine through MVD or to the state. And I pay for the land separately.
You're talking an RV, not a manufactured?
No, I'm talking about manufactured home. And so there's a lot, I agree with Tim, this is a huge issue. There's a lot of different ways of looking at things. I get it, and I do think it's something that's gonna take time to work our way through. But we can't just look at all the negatives on this either. We gotta look at positives. We gotta look at our people. And I get it, you know, like I'll just use Tono Basin because that's a lake. A lot of people go and fish and do things like that. A lot of them own property there, but they live in Phoenix. I understand that. They come in there and they fish for a weekend or they fish for a week. They use their RVs. I get it. But I also understand there's probably ways that they could be set up more efficiently and better and take care of their neighbors and everything else rather than mistreating folks. And I understand that some people don't like seeing an RV across the fence over there, regardless if they're hooked up to a septic system and power. And if they didn't want to look at that RV, maybe they should have bought that property before those people did. That's the way I look at things. It's like somewhere along the way, I honestly feel like we're diving into more personal space than we need to be diving into as a county. And we need to take a real long, hard look at it because we can't just sit here and keep putting restrictions on things. We just can't. We're gonna tie our hands to there's no use. Your use permits. That's a bunch of BS, Randy. If I've got a piece of property and I've got a barn on it, and that barn I'm using, I'm storing stuff in, I'm doing whatever, I'm trying to reorganize, I'm trying to sell property, I'm trying to do this and that and get moved, whatever. I'm not gonna go to you and buy a use permit. I'll tell you that straight up. That's mine. I'm gonna use it the way I see to use it. And I don't know where that came from, but you brought it up. I had to throw that in there.
I mean, some supervisors voted on it. I'm not gonna say
I
good or
wasn't
bad.
this supervisor. I could tell you that right now. So that's my take on RVs. I think there's definitely ways to make it work a lot better. But even with that being said, unless we have the manpower and the budget to enforce it, we're not going to change some of these folks.
So it is, and just make sure I'm clear, so is your direction thought here that we shouldn't have an ordinance and just allow them? Or is it that we should have an ordinance and maybe not regulate it as much as?
My opinion is you've already got places they cannot be. Your R1Ls, your deed restricted properties, HOAs, which is basically a deed restriction in a lot of ways. A lot of HOAs don't allow. So if you really sorted out this county, you'd see that there's a lot of areas that do not allow RVs. The areas that do, I think they should be allowed there to use for a month or a year, but they need to be set up with septic and they need to have electricity. Those are the two things I would say needs to happen. And really, Randy, from a landowner's perspective, that just adds value to your land. It's not like it's a waste of money to do these things. That puts value into your land, your assessments come up a little bit maybe. You know, you do a few things. Maybe you permit a garage and build a garage right there with it too. I don't know, but that's a start. That's improving your land that we're gonna see some benefit from. And that's what I would like to see.
And that was, in our discussion yesterday, it was determined, shouldn't be able to have water unless you have septic. And that does bring up the value of the land just by putting those two items on there.
And I throw in the electric part because I know that RVs are set up to be off the grid. And they have their own inverters, they have generators, they have a number of different things. But I kinda think they ought to have electric and sewer, have a hookup there.
Okay.
It's my take. Thank you, Randy.
Thanks for the presentation. When did you say you had a meeting?
And as soon as this is finished.
Okay. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time. We have discussed this before. You said this was your 5th presentation on the topic. And it's not surprising that it is, because it's complex. Your presentation talked about a lot of variables. My recommendation would be to break down all those variables and say, okay, let's not talk about tiny homes, let's not talk about tough sheds. Those are different topics. Let's talk about how much freedom we can give people to use an RV before it becomes offensive to, or an abuse of our ordinances or the neighbors. I would like to think that we still live in a free enough area to where we can have an RV parked at our home, or if it's required that it be garaged or covered in certain neighborhoods and things like that. I don't see a problem with that. This is another vehicle. It's just a different vehicle type. And I also would say that I agree with limiting the use of the RV from becoming a permanent dwelling. If it's a temporary dwelling, that's fine, unless it's in a trailer park. You see, you talked about all the different things, size of windows and things, but people live in RVs. You live in one. It's in a trailer park. All of a sudden, none of those are a concern anymore. It doesn't seem like, because it's in a designated park. There's actually a place in Strawberry along Fossil Creek where they, and I'm sure it's designated as a trailer park, but they're like short-term rentals, and it's all antique trailers, the old aluminum trailers, and that's really cool. I mean, that's like Lucille Ball, Ricky, and all that. You know, you go down and you experience an antique RV, and I think our ordinance provides for that, obviously, because they're doing it, and I would assume you know that. So when it comes to then a neighborhood, and I know we talk about Tono Basin a lot, and there's a reason, because it's still very rural, very Wild West. It's a recreational area in a sense. If I own a home and I have 5 acres, 2 acres, 10 acres, and I have a nice home on it, and I have my RV parked over here, and I have my antique truck over there, and I have all that, I'm not going to really want to look at a neighbor whose only goal is to have an RV and to put it on there, plug it in, or put it in make a sewer system, and that's the way it's going to stay. To me, that's almost akin to blight. Now, an occasional use, or it's for a designated purpose, like we're going to build or we're going to start improving the property, but it's not going to be a 10-year, this is where we come for the weekends. I think that's a consideration, because it hurts the neighbors who have invested in something now have to kind of view that. And I can see where that can be a problem. The fact that they're dumping their wastewater on the ground should automatically be a violation. So you can't say, well, let's get rid of RVs because they're doing that. People that abuse what's right and wrong should be held accountable and all that. So I don't necessarily think you have to have a septic system, $30,000 septic system, if they're handling their septic problems through either taking the trailer and dumping it or whatever, just using the trailer tanks, you know what I mean? So I don't know that we're solving something by saying, well, you have to have a septic. This is really a complicated issue that I don't see quick answers, but I would like to see it incrementally taken care of, not a great big movement. The whole idea of ordinances is, we get a lot of pushback when we start talking about ordinances, and all of a sudden, we're telling everybody they can't park there anymore, they can't have the cousin come over for the weekend and stay in it, or whatever. So I think we need to look at how can we continue to be a free country where we have freedom of use of our property without it being overly offensive or blight to the neighbors.
Okay.
Now, if you can figure that one out, that's great. The taxes, all those things, I know. Yeah, those are all very difficult to say, well, they're using it as a home, so we don't get taxes on it. Well, they shouldn't be able to use it as a home for a long period of time, unless it's a trailer park.
So I do live in a trailer park.
Yes.
That's me. Mine does require that I'm not there full-time. I have to leave fairly often.
Now, there's got to be trailer parks that allow you to live there.
I'm just saying mine does
Yours
require that.
doesn't. Okay.
And I'm sure there are some that don't. I absolutely 100% agree. I will tell you, whenever we write a T overlay, we put in that restriction that the owner of the trailer park is required to ensure that the manufacturer's requirements are enforced. So, yes, that is probably a way to cover our part, but we do put that illness on the owner of the land, that if he wants to have a T overlay on his property, then he's gonna have some requirements to accomplish that. So.
Within the town of Payson, different jurisdiction, I get it. Right. There's several trailer parks where they're old, dank things that people live in year-round, cheap, and they're a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't want that, but.
Yeah. Payson doesn't even allow you to have it on the property. It's supposed to be in a park. If you're using it at all, you're not supposed to
Correct.
use it on your property. You have to take it to a park.
Yep.
So.
Unless you're the past mayor.
Okay.
What else do you need?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just to say again about the septic, you know, if Gila County is going to grow, then I would like to grow in a good direction, not a negative direction. So, you know, I think septics are very important on properties that somebody is going to use or eventually live on. I think that's important, and setback of that. And as far as RVs and things of that nature, if we can't give them full-time status, then perhaps a 6-month permit, which would not say that they could live there forever. We're not going against any manufacturers or anything else, but then that's a renewable 6-month contract, which may encourage them, if they're going to have to write, if they're going to recreate in RVs and come up on the weekends and do things, then that's fine. And 6 months, they're not taking care of it as they should, the property as they should, then we don't have to renew their permit. And something of that may encourage them at some point in time to build a dwelling rather than continue with a 6-month permit on a property that they purchased in Gila County. So, you know, it's been a long discussion. It's been several years and a lot of these, so I appreciate your time today, Randy, and I appreciate your input, Chairman and Vice Chair, because if we don't come up with something, we're going to end up with kind of Payson with a bunch of old stuff around that has no real value or ordinance, and so anyway.
And I want to apologize. I had more pictures to demonstrate what I was saying, but I screwed that up.
That's okay. Time, energy, and effort is appreciated, and we do the best we can with the time and availability that we have to work with. So,
I wanna see one of them $3 million RVs.
They're
My
pretty
goodness.
awesome.
They'll be moving into Arizona pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, they're pretty spiffy. I can afford maybe a lug nut, so I, you know.
I've seen 44-foot fifth wheels that, you wanna take your shoes off before you even open the door. But anyway, thank you all very much. Brenda, did you get some direction?
Well, septic seems like a direction that we would want to go. So I think that is, I don't know what legal would say. I haven't really spent a lot of time with them, but I would think that even though the manufacturer's not agreed with, because that's what it's designed for, that I don't believe that we would be allowed to let them live in there permanently. So I would go down the direction of a limited permit for that. And one of the things we haven't talked about is all the manufacturer, or all the RVs that are there currently. And how long would we, if there was septic requirements and stuff, what kind of time frame would we allow for that to be corrected? You know, is that a year? Is that a 2 year? Is that a, you know, so I don't know that we have all the directions, but I think we have enough that I can, it seems like all of you agree there should be some level that we are involved in this, and it's not just allowed across the board. So it will be interesting in trying to draft something. Obviously, before I would be able to go with an ordinance or anything, I would be back in front of you and say, here's what we came up with, and you could tell me no or yes or maybe, you know. So I did get some direction. I'm sure I will be back here in front of you with some questions or some concerns.
One of the reasons I threw in the electric part of it, and for your guys' sake too, is that, you know, when you have neighbors around there and you have a generator running that's all day long or all night, they don't want to listen to that.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And to have your pedestal already there, your electric already there, it's just a plus for the property. It's just an improvement. I mean, and yeah, it is an expense to add it in there, but you're gonna get that back if you ever just sell the property.
The only thing I'm not sure of with that, and I will find out an answer, is APS. APS does not normally put power to a property unless there's a home there, because they want to get their money all the time. So I will see if they consider an RV a dwelling, and that they would run power to property without a stick-built structure, or if they would accept the RV as a dwelling of some type and run power there. Because otherwise they, you know, if you go to try to run property to a empty lot, it's like $30,000, $40,000 for APS to put power on there, because they want to hook it up to a house. They want to get that monthly bill coming into you. So it's a pretty big chunk, and I don't know the exact number, but it's a pretty big chunk that I wouldn't want to force on.
Well, yeah, every property is gonna be different when it comes to the cost.
Right.
I mean, it
Depends
depends
how
on,
far,
it
yeah.
depends on the distances, yada, yada, yada. So, but that's why I think that's important, to just, you know, when you do have neighbors around you, they're not listening to that.
Right, and we do have a noise level that you're not supposed to be running any of that stuff between, I think it's 10 at night and 7 in the morning, you know, so we have some, but I'm also not the one out there pursuing that. That'd be a sheriff's.
Mr. Chair, if I may, before we get down too many more rabbit holes, you ask a question about what do we do about the ones that are already there. I'm gonna give my opinion, Mr. Chair, and then I'm gonna go, because I've got another meeting at 4 and I've got to ride along with our new Public Works Director. And so anyway, I would say that we could go retro on that if we say they need septic tanks. And being that we live in a rural area, it's not something that, you know, 100 of them could be done right away, because we're limited to the licensed people that we have to put in septic tanks. But I think a fair retro would be fine, in my opinion, give them a year and a half or whatever to come into compliance if we did something new.
Oop, Joe,
But Joe's
has something.
going in, but
Pardon me, Mr. Humphrey, Chairman. Septic cesspools have been illegal in Arizona since 1977. That's state law.
Oh, I knew
So we can't waive that or make exceptions for it.
right, but if we make an ordinance to put in a septic tank, then we can go retro on the time that the people have to put one in. Right, because basically when they're digging a hole, that's, yeah.
Yeah, as long as they stop dumping illegally.
Because, yeah, right now, what they're doing, hole in the ground is a cesspool, and it's illegal. Thank you all very much. I'm gonna go so I can have time to do all I need to do to set.
Well, if there's nothing else,
Thank you.
we are adjourned. Thank you.